Chapter 462, The Pitiable Pair of Sisters _4 That's why the alchemy chamber was rented out externally to retain Lu Changsheng. Now hearing her elder sister's words, she felt that was indeed the case. Where would a second-rank alchemist not even have a pill furnace of his own? Moreover, this senior Yi seemed quite unfamiliar with her family's earth-fire array and the starfire sand. Immediately, the two sisters quickly went to the backyard. Xingyu, you ask? Li Xingrua, seeing that the person was still in the alchemy chamber, let out a sigh of relief and asked her younger sister to call out. Although she suspected that Lu Changsheng was a fraudster, she had not yet resorted to barging into the alchemy chamber directly. After all, it was only a suspicion. What if Lu Changsheng really was an alchemist? What if he was at a critical moment in his alchemy process? As an alchemist herself, she knew that one should not be disturbed during the process of alchemy. Furthermore, in her heart, she hoped that this senior Yi was truly a second-rank alchemist. Because a second-rank alchemist who had fallen on such hard times that he had no pill furnace indicated that he was in a dire situation. If she could just offer generous terms, maybe she could persuade him to become the resident alchemist at her family's store. Senior Yi, Li Xingyu took out a token and called out into the alchemy chamber. Miss Li, is there something the matter? Lu Changsheng, who was in the midst of alchemy and talisman making, asked without raising his head. Are you available right now? My sister has returned and would like to see you. Li Xingyu bit her lip and spoke out. She felt that Lu Changsheng had a kind temperament and couldn't believe he was a fraudster. Come in. Lu Changsheng, hearing this, guessed that it might be the young girl who had rented the alchemy chamber, and now a family elder had returned and came over to check in person. Giggle, the large stone door of the alchemy chamber slowly opened. A wave of heat spread out from inside the room. The sisters walked into the alchemy chamber. They immediately smelled a strong fragrance of medicine. In the center of the room, the fire in the pill furnace blazed vigorously, with spiritual light flowing around it, clearly in the process of concocting some extraordinary elixir medicines. Lu Changsheng was seated to one side, busily writing something. What? The sisters were stunned at the sight. What is this? The fire was roaring as it refined elixir medicines. Yet here was Lu Changsheng holding a spiritual brush, writing something. It looked as though he was making talismans. Whoever heard of someone doing other tasks while also engaged in alchemy? Ladies, please wait a moment. Lu Changsheng said without raising his head. He could divide his attention while making talismans. But after all, he was crafting a second-rank spirit talisman. He needed to keep an eye on the talisman paper to finish the drawing, unable to do so blindly. A moment later. Lu Changsheng's brush, in his hand, completed the last stroke on the talisman paper, causing spiritual light to surge on it. A second-rank talisman, made. Fellow Daoist, Miss Li. Only then did Lu Changsheng stand up and raise his head, greeting the two women with a smile. By their appearance and resemblance, he could tell at a glance that the two must be biological sisters. Li Xingyu was around 15 or 16, with clear eyes, a straight nose, an oval face, and a quiet disposition, charming and cute. This woman appeared to be about 20 years old. Her face had a 7 or 8/10 resemblance to Li Xingyu, with clear, refined features and bright eyes and white teeth. She seemed a bit weary from busyness, showing a trace of fatigue on her face. However, between her brows, there shone a transparent yet firm expression, like crystal. Senior Yi, you are also a talisman master? Li Xingyu, looking at Lu Changsheng, asked incredulously, her face full of disbelief. The surge of spiritual light from the talisman paper confirmed that Lu Changsheng was indeed making a talisman, drawing a spirit talisman just a moment ago. This left them so astonished they were at a loss for words. You see, both alchemy and talisman making are immensely difficult tasks that cannot be influenced or disturbed by external factors. Yet there was Lu Changsheng, clearly in the middle of alchemy in the pill furnace, while also making a talisman on the side. And during the process of talisman making, he was still capable of holding a conversation with them. This was simply astounding and beyond comprehension. I know a little, Lu Chongsheng replied with a smile. Senior Yi, I am Xingyi's elder sister, Li Xingrua. Just now, Xingyu mentioned that an alchemist had rented the alchemy chamber, so I came over to meet you. I apologize for disturbing Grandmaster Yi, Li Xingrua then spoke up, her voice respectful. She was not like her sister. She was much more precocious. Having learned alchemy from her father since she was young, she was a first-grade, high-quality alchemist. From the scent of the medicine, the fire in the pill furnace, and the medicinal liquid, she could roughly deduce that a second-grade elixir medicine was being concocted inside. This Senior Yi was indeed a second-rank alchemist. Not some scammer. This made her almost at a loss for what to say. To be concocting a second-grade elixir medicine while dividing his attention to make a talisman. And the surge of spiritual light when the talisman was completed indicated it was not just any ordinary spirit talisman. This excited her deeply. She realized her younger sister truly had encountered a master. The Senior Yi before them was a real expert. If he could become the resident alchemist at their store, their shop could be saved. No problem. I came to Jianghu Immortal City and forgot to bring my pill furnace, so I had to find a place to rent both a pill furnace and an alchemy chamber. I owe it to your younger sister for providing me a place to conduct my alchemy, Lu Chongsheng said with a smile. He could tell that Li Xingrua was likely quite sharp and capable. Senior Yi, are you planning to settle in Jianghu Immortal City? If you're looking for a place to stay, our treasure elixir pavilion is currently lacking a resident alchemist. I wonder if Senior Yi might be interested? As long as Senior Yi is willing to become, Li Xingruo's eyes lit up as she immediately spoke out, her eyes full of hope. Miss Li, I came to Jianghu Immortal City to take care of some business and don't have plans to settle here, Chapter 463, The Pitiable Pair of Sisters _5, so there really is no way for me to serve as the resident alchemist for your esteemed pavilion, Lu Chongsheng shook his head, voicing his refusal. He wasn't averse to the notion of being a shop's resident alchemist. If the shop were located in Red Leaf Valley Market or the markets around Jianghu Mountain, he wouldn't mind using an alias to serve as a resident alchemist. Not only would that provide an additional income, but it would also create another channel for selling elixir medicines. He could sell all the surplus elixirs that he had produced in the shop. However, his main base was at Jianghu Mountain. After completing this purchasing trip, he would return and not stay long in Jianghu Immortal City. Where does Elder Yi reside? As long as you are willing to become our treasure elixir pavilion resident alchemist, you don't have to come to the shop regularly. Xingrua can visit you to discuss matters. You only need to take the trouble of coming over when there is a need. Li Xingrua was reluctant to give up and continued to speak. Li fellow Daoist, I reside in the Qingyun region, which is truly far from Jianghu Immortal City, Lu Chongsheng said, shaking his head. From Jianghu Mountain to Jianghu Immortal City, one would have to traverse half of Jiang country cultivation realm. Qingyun region, upon hearing this, Li Xingrua felt somewhat disheartened. She knew that with such a distance, the journey was indeed long. Even by riding a spirit boat, it would take several months. Biting her lip, she persisted, may I ask when Elder Yi plans to leave? Her family's shop was facing not just a decline in business. There was another problem as well. In Jianghu Immortal City, there was a regulation. All pharmacy, talisman, and magic artifact shops in the inner city district must have a second-rank master in residence. Therefore, every 3 years, Jianghu Immortal City conducts a shop assessment. The resident talisman master of the shop is required to go to the 100 Arts Hall in the city for assessment and registration. If they did not pass the assessment, the shop's business license would be revoked. Now, there were only 3 months left until the assessment. If she could not secure a second-rank alchemist who hadn't registered in the city to pass the assessment within these 3 months, then her treasure elixir pavilion would no longer be able to operate. About 2 months, Lu Changsheng said after a moment of consideration. He planned to wait until the auction was over and then return home after exchanging the heads of the 2 robber cultivators from Red Leaf Valley. The reason he was not immediately collecting the reward was that Lu Changsheng had learned something. The rewards offered by the Heavenly Sword sect could be exchanged for items of equivalent value. Spirit stones, elixir medicines, magic artifacts, cultivation techniques, and rare treasures were all options. Therefore, he was not in a rush to claim the reward. He intended to wait until his purchases were complete to see which materials he still lacked. Only then would he use the heads of the 2 to select his reward, exchanging for the items he needed. 2 months. Upon hearing this, a pleading look appeared in Li Xingruo's eyes as she said, "I wish to request that Elder Yi act as the nominal resident alchemist for our treasure elixir pavilion and participate in the annual assessment. This assessment is in 3 months' time, and it will not take up much of your time, Elder Yi, as long as you are willing, Elder Yi. Any conditions you have can be discussed," Li Xingruo said, full of hope as she looked at Lu Changsheng. Her sister Li Xingyu nodded along, looking at Lu Changsheng with hopeful eyes as well. Any conditions can be discussed? Lu Changsheng had not expected that an offer to be a mere shop's resident alchemist could make the 2 women so determined and agreeable, willing to make such a significant commitment. He looked at the 2 sisters with a somewhat strange expression. The elder sister, 8th level energy refinement. The younger sister, 4th level energy refinement. At this age, with this cultivation level, it suggested that their spiritual root talents were quite impressive. If he were to marry them and have children, it seemed it would be quite good. However, he, Lu Changsheng, was not so desperate to propose that someone else's young girl becomes his concubine over such a trifle. In Jianghu Immortal City, there should be other second-rank alchemists among the surrounding family powers, right? Your pavilion manages to operate a shop here in the inner city district of Jianghu Immortal City. It shouldn't be that difficult to hire a second-rank alchemist, should it? Lu Changsheng asked out loud. This store's ability to operate in the inner city district of Jianghu Immortal City indicated that it had some strength. Nowadays, not only was the business sluggish, but the shop was also manned by just 2 young girls. It seemed it wasn't merely due to poor management. Therefore, Lu Changsheng speculated that there must be other reasons. Senior, Li Xingruo bit her lip and recounted the reasons. So that's how it is. After listening to Li Xingruo's words, Lu Changsheng sighed softly in his heart. He thought to himself that the 2 sisters were pitiable. Otherwise, considering the original family situation of the 2 sisters, they were indeed better off than many others. But such was the cultivation world, full of uncertainties. Senior, Li Xingyia's eyes reddened with memories flooding back as her sister recounted their parents' story, her face filled with sadness and misery. If that's the case, I can help you with the assessment 3 months from now. But how do I know what you've told me is true and that I won't offend the Li family behind you? Lu Changsheng spoke out. He, Lu Changsheng, was a father himself, with a heart full of love, always soft-hearted, and unable to bear seeing such things. If he could help, he was more than willing to lend a hand. As for the Li family behind the 2 women, he was not afraid. According to what Li Xingruo had just described, the Li family was only a foundation establishment family. After the death of her parents, the family had a total of 4 foundation establishment cultivators. But he could not simply believe whatever he was told. The senior may inquire a bit in the Immortal City, for example, the 100 Dawn Chamber and Heaven Knowledge Tower within the city deal in all kinds of intelligence and news. Senior may purchase information about our Li family and our shop through the 100 Dawn Chamber, and then you'll know if it's true. Li Xingruo said softly. Just recounting the past had made her feel somewhat depressed. All right, how about I give the 2 young ladies a response later tonight? Lu Changsheng glanced at Li Xingruo and nodded. He had also realized that after this procurement trip, there would certainly be a need for future purchases in the Immortal City. If the young women were good, he could maintain this relationship and channel. In the future, through the 2 women, he could purchase and acquire some rare materials in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Then have Xiao Xia ask for the spiritual vessel from Qingyun sect to bring them back. This way, he could avoid the trouble of running around himself. Thank you, Senior Yi. Thank you, Senior Yi. Upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words, the two sisters exchanged a look, their eyes filled with joy. Chapter 464, The Dao Soldier of the Mysterious Corpse, Witness the Divine Skills of a True Person. _1 Blackwater Pool. Boom, 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 hoo, 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 one after another, the spirit boats, with cultivators taking turns attacking the Xiahou family's myriad corpses' profound ghost formation, were causing a tremendous uproar and noise, accompanied by waves of ghastly wails and howls of wolves. However, it was apparent that the Qingyun sect's army's attack had significantly slowed down, nowhere near as ferocious as it had been at the beginning. Reporting to Kaiyun True Immortal, the earth-shaking formation is ready. Just then, an array master came aboard the giant spiritual vessel suspended in the void. He respectfully addressed a breathtakingly beautiful woman robed in colorful palace attire who exuded a regal and unparalleled elegance. Break the formation. Yun Wansheng, from her elevated position, gazed down upon all beings, slightly parted her red lips and uttered the words coldly and authoritatively. Yes. The nearby array master immediately acknowledged, taking out an array plate and manipulating it. Suddenly, the mountain ranges around Blackwater Pool, where the mountain-suppressing formation, mountain-shaking formation, inverted mountain formation, earth-shaking formation, and mudstone formation were set up, all activated at once. Under the direction of each array master, spiritual light surged, array flags fluttered in the wind, and bursts of light shot up into the sky. The light connected to the local Earth's energy and spiritual energy, merging to form the earth-shaking formation. The entire great formation displayed a yellowish-brown color, resembling an earth dragon stretching between heaven and earth, its presence astounding. The earth-shaking formation had the power to overturn mountains and lakes and to shake spirit veins. A third-rank great formation was hard to break, with no weaknesses, because a formation of this level was already capable of perfectly connecting with the spirit veins, forming a world all its own, thus making it impregnable. But the earth-shaking formation's ability to invert mountains and lakes directly damaged the great formation's spirit veins, turning the third-rank great formation into a castle in the air that would collapse without being attacked. Break the formation. Aboard the spiritual vessel, the array master channeled with both hands and shouted aloud. He immediately threw the array plate in his hand, which transformed into a streak of light and flew into the earth dragon's eyes. Roar! The earth dragon seemed to fully awaken, letting out a roar and charging towards the bottom of Blackwater Pool with a thunderous noise. Boom, 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 in an instant, everyone felt the ground tremble violently, followed by shaking lands and chaotic spiritual energy. The second-tier top-level spirit vein beneath the Blackwater Pool, under the assault of the earth-shaking formation, was immediately damaged, with countless spiritual energies spilling out. A second-grade spirit vein housing a third-rank great formation was already straining to maintain operation solely through the countless corpses and treasures of the Xiahou family. Now, with the spirit vein damaged by the assault of the mountain-shaking formation, its force was greatly diminished and it could no longer sustain itself. Dong, 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 the east wind blew, and the battle drum sounded. Aboard the giant spiritual vessel, 36 cultivators blew the attack horn and beat the war drums. The sound of the horns and drums revived the spirit of every cultivator as if receiving an order, and they collectively bombarded the myriad corpses' profound ghost formation around Blackwater Pool. Boom, 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 the overwhelming offensive fell upon the myriad corpses' profound ghost formation, causing the formation to instantly reveal cracks and flaws, and the true scene within Blackwater Pool was exposed. No! Ancestor! Inside Blackwater Pool, amidst the shaking earth and gusty spiritual energy, buildings collapsed, and many of the Xiahou clan's people let out cries of pain and wailing. They knew that at this moment, the Xiahou family was finished. Ancestor! Xiahou Wuo's complexion turned unsightly at this moment as he called out to the patriarch of his family. The earth-shaking formation, Qingyun sect knew that a great war between two countries was about to start, so they spared no expense to decisively annihilate our Xiahou family with a thunderous approach. Wuo, when I hold off the people from Qingyun sect, you must seize the chance to escape. Remember, after you leave, do not return to the Heavenly Corpse sect. Within the depths of Blackwater Pool, Xiahou Jie, with a rigid face and ashen-gray skin, his eyes a dark red, spoke in an ice-cold voice. Ancestor. Upon hearing these words, Xiahou Wuo's voice was heavy. He had long known of his family ancestor's decision. To attract the attention of Qingyun sect, the family brought the elite members away from the Qingyun region, escaping from Jianghu country. If they couldn't hold out until Jin Kingdom invaded, he was to escape at the first opportunity. Now that our Xiahou family's core descendants have been sent away, as long as you live, there is hope for the Xiahou family. Never forget the family feud and blood hatred. Xiahou Jie's voice was cold, devoid of emotion. Ancestor, Wuo dares not forget. Xiahou Wuo looked at his family ancestor, suddenly knelt down, his forehead touching the ground in reverence, bowing deeply 3 times, his expression solemn, eyes slightly red. Qingyun sect. Xiahou Jie suddenly looked up towards the Qingyun sect members on the great formation outside, his gaze fixed on Yun Wanshang above on the spiritual vessel. His dark red eyes gradually turned bloodshot, deep and somber like blood. The ashen-gray skin took on the color of blackened iron, with threads of mysterious and malevolent deathly energy spreading around. Boom! 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 Aboard the giant spiritual vessel, the big cannons, primed and ready, fired at this moment. Columns of thunderous lightning, 12 feet wide and capable of obliterating heaven and earth, bombarded the wavering great formation. The entire heavens filled with gray and black energy, mountains of corpses and seas of blood, wails of ghosts and howls of wolves, all were turned to ash in an instant, vanishing without a trace. The Xiahou family's myriad corpses' mysterious ghost great formation was completely shattered in this moment. Inside Blackwater Pool, the Xiahou family's mountain fortress was revealed. Within it, the city walls, houses, buildings, and spirit veins were already in ruins, a scene of utter devastation. Nearly all the common folk of the Xiahou family perished under the earth-shaking formation, crushed beneath the buildings without even a chance to wail. Only some cultivators, in the midst of the shaking earth and collapsing formation, somehow remained alive. The formation has broken, exterminate the Xiahou clan. Aboard the giant spiritual vessel, Yun Wanshang with a noble and icy demeanor, her brows exuding dominance and authority, commanded sternly. Suddenly, a golden magical sword appeared in her hand, and as she stepped forward, she stood suspended in the void, her presence like a rainbow, suppressing heaven and earth. Kill! 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 One after another, the spiritual vessels and each foundation establishment ancestor, upon receiving the order, led their disciples to slaughter their way into Blackwater Pool. Chapter 465, The Dao Soldier of the Mysterious Corpse, witnessed the divine skills of a true person. Now is the final time for harvest. My sons, follow this old ancestor into battle. In Blackwater Pool, Xiahou Jie looked up to the sky and let out a howl, his voice roaring like a wild beast, a lone wolf howling at the moon, captivating the soul. Bang, 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 in an instant, endless gloom and the stench of corpses spread and surged. One could see from the territory of the Blackwater Pool clan, countless dark coffins flying out, covering the sky, easily 1,000 in number. Numerous zombies broke out of their coffins, howled to the sky with blood-red eyes, and charged towards the people. Kaiyun true immortal, Xiahou Jie, today bring my Xiahou family sons and Dao soldiers of the mystical zombies to experience the might of your divine skills. Xiahou Jie stood on a bronze coffin and soared into the sky. His skin was dark as ink, his eyes blood-red, and the aura of dark evil around him nearly materialized, like a fiendish deity, malevolent and fierce. Jiuxiao Immortal City. Treasure Elixir Pavilion, Alchemy Chamber. Whoosh, 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 8 miniature dragon heads breathed out purple flames, making the spiritual mechanism of the pill furnace pervasive and filling the air with the fragrance of medicine. Elder Yi, your elixir is about to be ready. Li Xingrua looked at the pill furnace before her, where the spiritual mechanism was in full flow, and spoke up to remind him. There's no rush. This batch of elixir medicines is second-rank spirit-nourishing pills. In order to enhance their effectiveness, I added some red lotus powder, not only to lock in the efficacy but also to improve the quality of the pills during coagulation, though it requires a bit more time to refine. Lu Chongsheng, who was drawing a talisman nearby, didn't lift his head as he spoke gently. Previously, when the Li sisters invited him to be the resident alchemist of Treasure Elixir Pavilion, he said he would consider it. After purchasing information about the Li family and the Treasure Elixir Pavilion from the 100 Dawn Chamber and confirming that the sisters were telling the truth, Lu Chongsheng accepted the role of resident alchemist and took on the shop assessment. As for the price, the sisters had to pay him a compensation of 3,000 spirit stones. Moreover, during this period, they would sell the elixir medicines and talismans for him and procure all kinds of materials he needed. Faced with this demand, the sisters agreed without hesitation. So, for more than a month, Lu Chongsheng was practically always at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, refining pills and making talismans. Excess elixir medicines and talismans were all sold by the two sisters on his behalf, causing the spirit stones in his storage bag to swell. He now had a huge sum of over 40,000 spirit stones. And after spending this month in their company, the Li sisters had grown much closer to him. Whenever Li Xingrua was free, she would come over to help him control the fire and watch over the furnace. As for this, Lu Chongsheng not only did not mind, but he also took the opportunity to instruct and teach this young girl the skills of alchemy. So that's it. Second-rank spirit-nourishing pills with added red lotus powder lock in the efficacy. Li Xingrua, hearing this, nodded thoughtfully. Alchemy, artifact refining, talisman making, it's difficult to explore these fields by oneself without inheritance and someone to guide. However, doing so also demands much higher skill in the pill condensation technique. It requires the condensation of water vapor during pill formation and integrating it into the medicine. Lu Chongsheng spoke unhurriedly. In the inheritance of second-rank alchemy skills, there are many alchemical techniques included. Although these alchemy skills are just common techniques, not some rare inheritances, they are enough to deal with 90% of the elixir medicines on the market. The elixir medicines he refined were of optimal effect, mostly exquisite or supreme in quality. Xingrua, watch closely. After drawing another first-grade spirit talisman, Lu Chongsheng spoke to Li Xingrua. When the spiritual mechanism surged inside the pill furnace, he clenched his hands together in an intricate seal. Washing stream transforming cloud technique, condense the pill. As clouds and mist filled the pill furnace, and the heat steamed up, a waft of water vapor spread towards the coalescing medicinal liquid. This water vapor will wash over the pill for a moment, then the furnace must be opened immediately, otherwise, it will affect the quality of the elixir medicine. Open. Lu Chongsheng spoke, his hands forming rapid seals, causing the red furnace lid to fly up. Suddenly, many brown spirit pills, the size of lychee fruits, flew into Lu Chongsheng's hands. This batch of spirit-nourishing pills totaled over 40. All of them were of exquisite or supreme quality. Different elixir medicines have different methods and ingredients for refining, hence the yield also varies. Like the spirit-nourishing pills, they could be refined with a large quantity of spiritual medicine at once, which is a bit crude, so the limit for Lu Chongsheng was about 50 pills. Store. Lu Chongsheng took out a porcelain bottle and let the 40-plus spirit-nourishing pills all enter into it. He then turned to Li Xingrua, who stood beside him, bewildered, and asked, "How about it, Xingrua, did you understand?" "Elder Yi, I understood," Li Xingrua immediately regained her senses with a slight blush on her cheeks, nodding to Lu Changsheng. Just now, watching Lu Changsheng's heroic face and kind instruction reminded her of the days when her father taught her alchemy here. Though her normally kind father was very strict about alchemy, unlike Elder Ye's gentle approach. Let's stop here for today. You can also come to me if you have any questions about alchemy. With your talent, as long as you apply yourself, becoming a top-tier alchemist is not far off, and there's hope for you to reach second rank in the future, Lu Changsheng said to Li Xingrua. This girl indeed had a knack for alchemy, a solid foundation. If her father had not passed away, leaving her without guidance and preoccupied with trivial matters, she would probably have already reached the pinnacle of first-grade alchemists. Thank you, Elder Yi, Li Xingrua said, as if greatly encouraged, and nodded firmly. After spending over a month together, she recognized that the Elder Yi before her was a very potent alchemist, even more so than her own father. Thus, she deeply trusted Lu Changsheng's words, knowing that if he said she had prospects to become a second-rank alchemist, then she certainly did. The auction starts tomorrow. I hope it won't be disappointing, Lu Changsheng mused as he stepped out of the alchemy chamber and let out a breath. He was ready to go back and get a good rest. Chapter 466, The Dao Soldier of the Mysterious Corpse, witnessed the divine skills of a true person. After several days of continuous alchemy and talisman making, he felt tired in both body and mind. Senior Yi, all the harmonizing energy elixirs you made before are sold out. Some people even came asking when new stock would arrive, saying that the elixirs you made have excellent effects, Li Xingyu, in the store's lobby, excitedly said upon seeing Lu Changsheng. Ever since Lu Changsheng arrived, their family's elixir shop had been doing much better, making her very happy collecting spirit stones every day. Even though these spirit stones weren't hers. But every time, Lu Changsheng would give her dozens of spirit stones as a reward. Hee, I'll make more when I have some free time, Lu Changsheng said with a chuckle. You are the resident alchemist of Treasure Elixir Pavilion. I wonder if Master Yi can refine a premium true essence elixir? A customer in the shop politely said after hearing this and glanced towards Lu Changsheng. If the friend here pays a deposit, Yi can refine a furnace, and you may collect it in a fortnight, Lu Changsheng replied upon hearing this. The true essence elixir is an elixir taken during the middle and later stages of foundation establishment, to improve one's cultivation level. If the other party wanted it, he was willing to refine a few bottles to sell. After all, he would need them in the future as well. May I ask the price? The customer inquired. 30% above market rate, 2,300 spirit stones, Lu Changsheng responded. In that case, ill trouble Master Yi. Upon hearing this, the customer thought for a moment, then took out 1,200 spirit stones as a deposit and then took his leave. Wow! Li Xingyu couldn't help but exclaim when she saw this scene. The fact that someone was willing to place a deposit and pre-order elixirs just because they bought a bottle of harmonizing energy elixir before made her marvel. In her heart, she thought if Lu Changsheng could permanently reside in the shop, then their treasure elixir pavilion could prosper like never before. Xiaoyu, if the second-rank elixirs in the shop are sold out, you can place the talismans in a more conspicuous spot, that will help sell them better, Lu Changsheng, looking at the spirit talismans beside him, said to Li Xingyu. The treasure elixir pavilion was, after all, an elixir shop. The elixirs he put on sale in the shop basically sold out very quickly. Talismans, on the other hand, were comparatively slower to sell. But that didn't really matter. If he had to sell them back to other shops, he could only buy them back at 50 to 60% of the value. At the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, they sold for the market rate. Plus, the quality of the elixirs and talismans was high, so he could charge a little more. Alright, Senior Yi, Li Xingyu immediately organized several talismans and placed them neatly in the center of the counter on hearing this. Oh, and Senior Yi, here are the spirit stones from the sales of elixirs and talismans over the past few days. She then took out a storage bag and handed it over to Lu Changsheng. Lu Chongsheng scanned it with his divine sense, 11,350 spirit stones. Exactly the amount from the elixirs and talismans he had made recently. You've worked hard. He took out 50 spirit stones and handed them to Li Xingyu as a reward. Thank you, Senior Yi. Li Xingyu immediately received them with a beaming smile. 50 spirit stones were not a small amount for her. Moreover, during this period, Lu Chongsheng had already given her more than 300 spirit stones. Alright, you should get some rest early. Seeing the girl's smiling face, Lu Chongsheng subconsciously rubbed her little head. Thousands of miles away from Jianghu Immortal City, there was a spiritual mountain called Great Cliff Mountain. The one in charge of this Great Cliff Mountain was the Li family. You're saying that Treasure Elixir Pavilion got a second-rank alchemist, and this alchemist is a second-rank superior alchemist. The patriarch of the Li family was somewhat astonished upon hearing a subordinate's report. A second-rank superior alchemist, even within Jianghu Immortal City, was not common. This caused some doubt in his mind about where his two nieces had found such a second-rank alchemist. Yes, family head, this person produces elixirs of exceedingly high quality, definitely a second-rank superior alchemist. As for his background, this subordinate hasn't investigated any relevant information. Perhaps he's a newly arrived alchemist in Jianghu Immortal City, that's why he settled at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. The reporter spoke respectfully. Prepare a gift and go meet this alchemist. Test the waters to see what the relationship is like between the alchemist and Xingrua and the two of them. If their relationship is ordinary and he's only temporarily residing at Treasure Elixir Pavilion, ask if he's willing to come to our Great Cliff Li family as a guest elder. Our family is willing to welcome him with open arms. If their relationship is good, then apologize profusely, saying there has been some misunderstanding and conflict between the families and see his attitude. Be sure not to offend him. The patriarch of the Li family tapped the table and contemplated. Even a second-rank superior alchemist, without any background, could quickly build connections through his alchemy. Therefore, the Li family was not willing to offend an alchemist of such caliber. If his two nieces had made acquaintance with such an alchemist, it indeed wasn't good news for their Li family. After all, the Li family's previous actions towards the two sisters were not exactly honorable. Yes, family head. The reporter bowed and complied. Chapter 467, Special Monster Core, Minor Forbidden Formation. _1 The next day. Lu Chongsheng went out and headed towards the Jianghu Mountain auction venue. Today was the biannual auction day in Jianghu Immortal City. But for Jianghu Immortal City, such a small auction was just a minor event. It was a sale of some rarely seen exquisite items. As far as Lu Chongsheng knew, the real bustling auctions in the city occurred once every 3 years and once every 10 years. Items like Foundation Establishment Elixir, along with many rarely seen spirit pills and elixirs, cultivation technique inheritances, and heavenly and earthly treasures, could all be found in these big auctions. After arriving at the Jianghu Mountain auction venue, Lu Chongsheng took out the invitation he had bought early. Esteemed cultivator, you hold a box invitation, please follow me. A maid with a fair and delicate face and a cheerful smile invited Lu Chongsheng to the second floor of the venue. Inside the box, the privacy of the guests is absolutely confidential, and after you win an item, it will be sent directly to the box for the transaction. The maid led the way while introducing the facilities and rules of the auction venue. Lu Chongsheng nodded slightly. He had understood these aspects earlier. The box was not only much more comfortable, but it also guaranteed a degree of privacy. As expected of the Immortal City, even a small auction here is busier than the long-anticipated auction in the Red Leaf Valley Market back then. Lu Chongsheng settled into his box seat, overlooking the entire auction and observing the packed positions on the first floor. Mostly energy-refining late-stage cultivators. And there were quite a few Foundation Establishment cultivators. Dong, about an hour later, with the loud sound of a gong, a tall woman dressed in red, mature and alluring, stepped onto the stage. Thank you all for your presence. The auction now begins, and I wish all fellow cultivators here can acquire their desired items. the first auction item, a lower-grade spiritual artifact river crossbow, with effects such as attacking enemies, breaking spells, and breaking seals, and it can be activated with spirit stones without consuming mana. The starting bid is 2,000 spirit stones. The woman in red spoke with a soft and sweet voice, holding a small crossbow, introducing it. Her voice resonated clearly in everyone's ears. 2,100 spirit stones. 2,500 spirit stones. Although this was a lower-grade spiritual artifact, being able to appear in the auction meant it was indeed a fine piece. Being able to be activated without consuming one's own mana meant that energy-refining late-stage cultivators could use it. 2,900 spirit stones. Lu Chongsheng called out a price. This spiritual artifact was naturally of no use to him. But it was just right for Lu Miaoge, who was at the peak of her energy-refining stage and practiced a water attribute cultivation technique. It would be suitable for self-defense. Moreover, since he was out, he naturally had to bring small gifts back home for his wives and children. After a few bids, Lu Chongsheng won it for 3,800 spirit stones. It wasn't too expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. Guest, here is the spiritual artifact you won. Shortly after, a maid came into the box through a hidden passage, carrying a tray. Lu Chongsheng picked up the crossbow and played with it briefly. He knew that this spiritual artifact could be easily activated by energy-refining cultivators through the nourishment of middle-grade spirit stones and regular care. If the energy stored inside was depleted, it would be much more difficult to activate. After paying the spirit stones, he put the crossbow away. Ice Heart Elixir can assist in breaking through bottlenecks in ice attribute cultivation technique practices and has the effects of suppressing heart demons and treating fire attribute injuries. There are a total of 10, with each starting at 500 spirit stones. The coquettish voice of the woman in red continued to permeate the auction venue, ringing in everyone's ears. Lu Chongsheng, lounging lazily on the soft chair, casually looked around. Unless it was a third-rank elixir or some rare medicines, he was generally uninterested. As Lu Chongsheng was idly gazing around, he suddenly saw a cultivator in the corner of the first floor. The cultivator was looking at the woman on stage with burning eyes, engaging in sleazy behavior. Damn, Lu Chongsheng cursed under his breath, his face showing the expression of an old man concentrating on his phone. He hadn't expected to see such an outrageous scene at an auction. But this person was also incredibly bold and apparently unafraid of death. After all, the woman on stage was not just for show. She was a Foundation establishment cultivator. And this man was only at the energy-refining late stage. Perhaps this is what makes it thrilling for him. Lu Chongsheng didn't understand the man's thoughts, shook his head and quickly averted his gaze, looking back at the shapely and voluptuous woman in red on the stage. The auction continued. It must be said, the quality of this auction was indeed good. Mostly it featured rare elixirs, magic artifacts, heavenly and earthly treasures, and young spiritual beasts not often seen. During the proceedings, there were also some cultivation techniques and secret skills of cultivation realms. However, the techniques only reached high-grade cultivation techniques, and the skill inheritances were at most second-tier top level. It seems that cultivation technique inheritances and advanced skills are tightly controlled everywhere, rarely leaking out. Lu Chongsheng mused internally. As each item was auctioned off. Finally, an auction item caught the attention of the languid Lu Chongsheng, energizing his spirit. Purple Thunder Spirit Wood. This spirit wood ranks at 3rd rank middle grade, can be used in medicine, formation, making spiritual artifacts, treasures, or crafting talismans. The starting bid is 4,000 spirit stones. The seductive voice of the woman in red continued detailing the auction item, adding some color to the otherwise monotonous auction and keeping it from being too dull. 3rd rank middle grade spirit wood. This auction trip wasn't in vain. Lu Chongsheng looked at the piece of spirit wood and sat up slightly. His primary purpose in coming to Jianghu Immortal City was to purchase more third-rank talisman-making materials. But third-rank materials were very rare. He had almost scoured the entire inner city district and had only managed to buy about 10 portions of third-rank lower-grade talisman-making materials and a piece of third-rank lower-grade spirit wood. Chapter 468, Special Monster Core, Minor Forbidden Formation. Now this piece of third-rank middle-grade spiritual wood, fashioned into talisman skin, used to nurture treasure talismans, could cultivate third-rank middle-grade spirit talismans, and he deemed it absolutely necessary to obtain 4,500 spirit stones. Inside the first floor of the hall, a foundation establishment cultivator immediately placed a bid. 5,000 spirit stones. 5,100 spirit stones. 5,300 spirit stones. 6,000 spirit stones. Noticing that fewer people were bidding, Lu Chongsheng also called out an offer. 6,100 spirit stones. Inside a certain private box, a bid was called out. 6,500 spirit stones. Lu Chongsheng continued to bid. 6,600 spirit stones. This voice seemed to be gritting its teeth. Because the price of third-rank middle-grade spiritual wood was around 5,000 to 6,000 spirit stones. However, this piece of spiritual wood bore the attribute of lightning, making it quite rare, and happened to be suitable for him to refine a treasure. 7,000 spirit stones. Lu Chongsheng declared, unruffled. Although it was a significant overbid, for him, as long as he could craft it into a talisman, it was all worth it. Once this price was announced, nobody else in the other private boxes placed any further bids. After all, among foundation establishment stage cultivators like Lu Chongsheng who were wealthy, there really weren't many. Soon, a maid delivered a length of purple-veined spiritual wood several feet long. The spiritual wood was covered in purple lightning patterns and a faint spiritual light circulated within, extremely extraordinary. Not bad. Lu Chongsheng looked at the piece of purple thunder spirit wood and revealed a faint smile on his face. If the wood was made into third-rank talisman skin, it could be used to draw some third-rank thunder aspect talismans. After paying the spirit stones, he continued to watch the items being introduced on the stage. Second-rank middle-grade formation Wild Wind Fierce Fire Array Plate, 108 array flags all intact, simple to manipulate, can unleash wild winds and fierce fires. Even a foundation establishment cultivator would find it very troublesome, suitable for defending a cave dwelling or trapping demon beasts. Starting bid, 5,000 spirit stones, this formation tool caught Lu Chongsheng's attention as quite decent. However, the range of this formation was too small, only 100 feet. Only suitable for guarding a cave dwelling or spiritual field. It could not serve as a family's great formation. So he did not participate in the auction. Nevertheless, this formation tool was auctioned off for a huge sum of 9,000 spirit stones. Next, we will introduce the highlight of today's auction. Half a quarter hour later into the auction, on stage, a woman in a red dress held up a deep blue crystal core and began introducing, a second-rank special monster core, can replace a heavenly spirit fruit, to be used as a supplement in the foundation establishment elixir. Starting bid, 8,000 spirit stones. A second-rank special monster core. Upon seeing this monster core, Lu Chongsheng's eyebrows raised, showing a bit of interest. The rarity of foundation establishment elixirs was due to the main ingredient heavenly spirit fruit being exceedingly scarce. Besides the purple shadow secret realm, which opened every 30 years, there was no fixed output. The occasional foundation establishment elixirs that flowed out from the three great immortal cities were either because someone stumbled upon the heavenly spirit fruit by chance, or they replaced the heavenly spirit fruit with second-rank special monster core as the main ingredient of the foundation establishment elixir. But such second-rank special monster cores were also incredibly rare. First of all, only some exceptionally rare and powerful second-rank demon beasts possessed monster cores. The second-rank green wolf that Lu Changsheng had killed before simply did not have such a thing as a monster core. Secondly, the monster cores used to concoct foundation establishment elixirs had to contain energy that was neither too mixed nor too violent, and had to be of a gentle and pure attribute. Otherwise, they would collide with the other ingredients of the foundation establishment elixir. For example, monster cores with attributes of metal, fire, lightning, ice, or multiple attributes did not meet the requirements. Therefore, it was extremely difficult for someone to hunt demon beasts and obtain this kind of special monster core. One would have to venture deep into the Myriad Beasts mountain range. However, deep within the Myriad Beasts mountain range, numerous demon beasts lurked. Even third-rank and fourth-rank demon kings were present. Nascent soul immortals entering there would find it a headache, with one misstep potentially leading to their demise. Therefore, ordinary foundation establishment cultivators and nascent soul immortals wouldn't specifically venture deep into the Myriad Beasts mountain range to search for special monster cores. They would mostly rely on luck in the outer areas, or encounter such demon beasts in other mountain ranges and obtain special monster cores. Using a second-rank monster core instead of a heavenly spirit fruit to concoct a foundation establishment elixir requires only minor adjustments to the recipe and alchemy techniques. If I acquire this second-rank special monster core, I could completely gather supplementary ingredients myself and concoct 3 foundation establishment elixirs. Lu Changsheng mused internally, preparing to win this second-rank special monster core. Though he did not need a foundation establishment elixir for himself, nobody would consider a rare item like the foundation establishment elixir to be too plenty. Not only could it be used by his wives, concubines, and children, but it could also be traded for rare treasures of heaven and earth. In the cultivation world, foundation establishment elixirs could be considered top-grade currency. 8,500 spirit stones. A voice immediately made a bid. 8,600 spirit stones. 8,800 spirit stones. Many cultivators present were interested in this second-rank special monster core. Energy refining cultivators wished for this special monster core to hire someone to concoct a foundation establishment elixir for them. Foundation establishment cultivators had junior family members. And before long, the price of this monster core exceeded 10,000. 12,000 spirit stones. At that moment, an aged yet authoritative voice sounded, directly raising the bid by 1,000 spirit stones. Simultaneously, a window in this private box opened, allowing people to see through the window an old man with gray hair, a square face, and a dignified appearance. So it's Master He. It said that Master He is exceptionally skilled in using monster cores to concoct foundation establishment elixirs, capable of ensuring at least 1 elixir per batch, and 2 elixirs with normal performance. If Master He purchases this monster core, there will be foundation establishment elixirs available at the auction in 2.5 years. Greetings to Master He. Many in the crowd turned to look at the private box, recognizing this dignified elder. They knew he was a famous alchemy master from the Jianghu marketplace. Chapter 469, Special Monster Core, Minor Forbidden Formation. Master He truly commands great respect, with many foundation establishment cultivators giving up the competition one after another. Even quite a few people called out greetings, planning to visit Master He after the event, bringing along auxiliary materials in hopes of requesting a foundation establishment elixir. 13,000 spirit stones. But Lu Changsheng didn't care in the slightest, showing no regard for Master He called out his bid. The moment this voice rang out, the other people in the venue turned their gaze towards the private box where Lu Changsheng was seated. 13,500 spirit stones. Master He also looked towards the private box where Lu Changsheng was, snorted coldly, and raised the bid by 500 spirit stones. The price of a foundation establishment elixir is around 20,000 spirit stones. The price of this monster core, plus the auxiliary materials, comes to about 20,000 spirit stones. If it's only used to refine a single foundation establishment elixir, there's hardly any profit to be made. However, for alchemists, many times being able to break even isn't too bad. After all, each alchemy session is also a chance to accumulate experience and improve proficiency. 15,000 spirit stones. Lu Changsheng directly made a substantial increase to the bid. With second-rank alchemy skills at his disposal, he was confident that he could refine 3 foundation establishment elixirs. Even amongst the 3 foundation establishment elixirs, one could be a supreme foundation establishment elixir. Thus, he was determined to win this special monster core. Fellow Daoist, I am Himao. Seeing Lu Changsheng bidding like this, Master, he said coldly. What, can one use their status to oppress others at an auction? Lu Changsheng spoke indifferently. At these words, Himao's face turned from green to white. He was, after all, a prominent figure in Jianghu Immortal City. Even revealing his identity, the price for this monster core was about at its limit. Unexpectedly, Lu Changsheng was giving him no face at all. He gritted his teeth and bid, 16,000 spirit stones. 17,000 spirit stones. Lu Changsheng spoke calmly. 18,000 spirit stones. Master, he continued to bid. 20,000 spirit stones. Lu Changsheng spoke out blandly. Facing this situation, Master, he stopped bidding. Although he had a 50% chance of refining 2 foundation establishment elixirs, collecting auxiliary materials and the time and effort spent on alchemy wasn't worth a higher bid. Moreover, Lu Changsheng's bids, which showed no regard for Master He's status, made him cautious, not wanting to offend him. Who is this person, actually spending 20,000 spirit stones to buy this special monster core? The price of a foundation establishment elixir is just that. Could this person also be an alchemy master, or perhaps he knows an alchemy master? How is that possible? Where would so many alchemy masters come from? Right, there are only so many renowned alchemy masters in Immortal City. Maybe he just needs this special monster core, like for helping a spirit beast to advance. In the venue, the high price fetched by this monster core stirred up quite a bit of discussion. After all, usually, the price for a special monster core maxes out at 15,000 spirit stones. Shortly after, the second-rank special monster core was delivered. After Lu Changsheng examined it, he stored it away in a jade box. In the cultivation world, many heavenly and earthly treasures must be stored in special treasure boxes, otherwise, they will leak spiritual energy. After the auction of the second-rank monster core ended, Lu Changsheng lost interest in the subsequent items and did not participate. Besides, having spent more than 30,000 spirit stones at this auction on 3 items and flaunting his wealth, he might attract unwanted attention. Fellow Daoists, the auction has now concluded, and next is the exchange meeting, the free trade segment. Interested Daoists may head to the side hall. The woman in the red dress spoke, declaring the auction over. Hearing this, Lu Changsheng spoke to the auction's maid, expressing his interest in participating in the exchange meeting. This was one of his reasons for attending the auction. Within the cultivation world, many cultivators obtain rare heavenly and earthly treasures and prefer not to sell them for spirit stones. Instead, they engage in bartering to seek the items they need. Upon hearing this, the maid asked Lu Changsheng if he needed to conceal his identity. The venue provided capes and masks. Truly fitting of Immortal City, such thorough arrangements. Lu Changsheng, hearing this, picked up a cape and mask. However, this set of mask and cape required 300 spirit stones. Lu Changsheng made his way to the side hall through a secret passage. Upon entering the hall, he perceived that a certain formation was in place that could affect others' divine senses. Combined with the mask and cape, one's identity could hardly be discerned. However, in the side hall, only about half of the people had chosen to conceal their identities. Many openly revealed their true appearances. Presumably, these individuals either had lived in Jianghu Immortal City for a long time or weren't afraid of being targeted. A quarter hour later, when the side hall gathered around 40 to 50 people, the exchange meeting officially began. The way of trading was straightforward. Each person spoke in turn to present the resources they were selling or to specify what they wanted to buy. Foundation Establishment Spiritual Object Earthly Gang Chi to trade for a gold attribute. Foundation Establishment Spiritual Object, Radiant Primordial Gold Chi Preferred, can also add Spirit Stones, an exquisite level Chi cultivation technique to exchange for a Divine Consciousness technique, or can be traded for another technique of the same level. Of course, if someone offers enough Spirit Stones, I would sell. Transforming Dragon Ginseng, a rare second-rank spiritual medicine that can serve as an auxiliary for Foundation Establishment elixirs, to exchange for a youth-preserving elixir. One after another, people voiced their offerings. This exchange meeting surely has some good items on hand. Lu Chongsheng gazed at the people and mused to himself. For instance, that transforming dragon ginseng seemed excellent to him, as it is one of the main auxiliary ingredients for a Foundation Establishment elixir. Later, he would ask the other party if they were willing to sell for spirit stones. Just then, a woman in a blue dress spoke up. Near third rank formation inheritance, an inverted 5 elements formation set for a forbidding magic artifact, or I can set up a second rank formation for someone, in exchange for cold attribute spiritual medicine, any heavenly or earthly treasures, the more the merrier. Chapter 470, Purchase Completed, Dragon Roar Physique. _1 As the lady in the blue dress spoke, many eyes in the hall turned towards her. Lu Chongsheng also showed surprise, looking at the blue-dressed woman. An almost third-rank formation inheritance. A complete set of the inverted 5 elements formation's restricted artifacts. Both of these items were incredibly rare. Especially the artifacts for the inverted 5 elements formation. This formation was quite famous. Even Lu Chongsheng, with his limited knowledge of formations, had heard of it. It belonged to the second-tier top-level formations. It was known as the miniature forbidden formation. Apart from its average coverage area and lack of offensive capabilities, it was first-rate in defense, concealment, illusion, confusion, restriction, and trapping enemies. Logically, such a powerful formation would decisively not be possible to set up with mere formation artifacts. It would require an array master skilled in this formation to spend months at a location, consuming vast amounts of labor and resources to establish it. Yet at this moment, the woman in the blue dress claimed to possess a set of restricted formation artifacts for the inverted 5 elements formation, which was astonishing. This set of inverted 5 elements formation artifacts is just a simplified version. Relying on the formation artifacts, it can only unleash 1/10 of the formation's full power, explained the lady in the blue dress, seeing the many gazes upon her. Her eyes clear, her expression tranquil and elegant. No wonder. That explains it. Upon hearing her words, many in the audience showed a look of realization on their faces. However, there were also many with calm expressions, evidently already aware of this fact. It seems this lady is also a well-known array master in Jianghu Immortal City, Lu Chongsheng pondered inwardly as he looked at the woman in the blue dress. His trip to Jianghu Immortal City wasn't solely for purchasing goods. He was also considering whether he could meet any array masters and obtain a formation path inheritance to solve the issue of his family's great formation in the future. After all, obtaining formation skills through the system was unpredictable. As for asking Xiao Xie to request an array master from Qingyun sect, he had put that option last. Because having a Qingyun sect's array master set up the family great formation would surely result in Qingyun sect understanding the inner workings of the formation thoroughly. Therefore, his preference was to set up the formation himself or find an array master elsewhere to do it. This lady in the blue dress held a nearly third-rank formation path inheritance, was able to produce a simplified version of the inverted 5 elements formation artifacts, and could set up second-rank formations for others. Her accomplishments in the formation path were probably out of the ordinary. Lu Chongsheng thought it would be worthwhile to establish a connection with her. Putting aside anything else, just for the inverted 5 elements formation, in his view, it could serve as the family's internal great formation. Fellow Daoist, may we discuss this in detail? Lu Chongsheng inquired of the woman in blue. Certainly, replied the woman in blue upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words, nodding slightly, her demeanor graceful. Immediately, the two of them moved to a private compartment. I'd like to ask if you are able to set up a complete inverted 5 elements formation and a second-rank family great formation, Lu Changsheng asked aloud. Formations are categorized as standard formations, advanced level formations, and large formations. The several sets sold at the auction earlier were all standard formations. You don't need to be well versed in formations. They can be used simply by following the instructions provided with the formation artifacts. Formations like the inverted 5 elements formation fall into the category of advanced level formations. They can't be established with formation artifacts alone, an array master must set them up. As for formations that envelop an entire family spirit land, they are considered large formations. These are the most difficult. Many second-rank array masters may not be able to set up even a low-grade second-rank family great formation. Even if they can set it up, the power and effectiveness are often quite average. I can set up both a complete inverted 5 elements formation and a second-rank large formation, said the woman in the blue dress. But these two formations require too much time, and now my life is less than a year, so I do not take on such large formations, she said with a beautiful face, appearing somewhat surprised by the inquiry, and spoke softly. She mentioned her life expectancy was less than a year with a calm and composed demeanor. Less than a year left to live? Lu Changsheng replied with some surprise. Upon closer inspection, he noticed that indeed the woman's appearance wasn't very healthy. It seemed she had some health issues and needed cold attribute spiritual medicines or heavenly treasures to extend her life. Do you have any cold items? If fellow Daoist possesses some rare cold treasure that can extend my life, even a second-rank middle-grade great formation, I could set up for you, the woman in the blue dress said to Lu Changsheng, her voice crisp. I don't have any cold treasures, but I am an alchemist capable of refining second-rank ice cloud elixirs and ice soul elixirs, Lu Changsheng responded. I wonder if those would help you. Both elixir medicines were of upper grade within the second rank. If she needed cold spiritual medicine, these two elixir medicines should be helpful. Common cold elixir medicines I've taken too many of, and now they no longer work on me, the woman in the blue dress uttered, shaking her head gently upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words. Her beauty was not stunning but could be described as elegant and graceful. However, in every move she made, there was a sense of grace and serenity. Taken too many elixir medicines, Lu Changsheng murmured, his brow slightly furrowed. He knew that after consuming too much of a certain type of elixir medicine, elixir toxicity could occur, the body could build resistance, thereby diminishing the effectiveness of the medicines. He initially thought to request her to set up a formation or exchange for her almost third-rank inheritance using elixir medicines. Now it seemed that as an array master, she had likely tried many methods to extend her life to no avail. May I inquire what is the reason for your limited lifespan of less than a year? Lu Changsheng asked. He was willing to get to know someone with her level of formation expertise. Chapter 471, Purchase completed, Dragon Roar Physique. If he could solve her Boda's problem, he might not only be able to ask her to set up a formation, but also possibly invite her to his home to preside as a guest elder. I possess the Dragon Roar Physique. During my breakthrough to Foundation establishment, excessive yang energy burst forth, leading to an imbalance between yin and yang in my body, withering meridians and dantian, and my life is not long. I can only rely on cold attribute spiritual medicines and heavenly materials to extend my life, the woman in the blue dress said calmly. This situation of hers was no secret in Jianghu Immortal City, so she spoke about it openly. Dragon Roar Physique. Lu Changsheng was surprised to hear this. Due to previously researching Bai Ling's bodily condition, he had thoroughly supplemented his knowledge on spiritual bodies. He happened to know about the Dragon Roar Physique. It is a rare recessive constitution. The spiritual body will awaken gradually with growth and cultivation. During the awakening process, one will have robust yang energy and powerful blood, similar to a dragon, making rapid progress in cultivation. It is indeed a top-level spiritual body. However, this spiritual body has a disadvantage. It is only suitable for males. If a female possesses this spiritual body, as she cultivates, the yang energy will become increasingly overwhelming, resulting in an imbalance of yin and yang energy consuming the body, and the withering of meridians and dantian. Unexpectedly, the woman before him was a female with the dragon roar physique. This made Lu Chongqing feel regretful. If a male had this spiritual body, he would probably soar to the heavens and have a limitless future. That is to say, this dragon roar physique is caused by an excess of yang energy, leading to an imbalance of yin and yang inside the body. If one uses the dragon invocation technique to harvest and plunder this yang energy, or even plunder the very origin of the dragon roar physique spiritual body, would it not solve the condition of the dragon roar physique? Lu Chongqing paused and thought. He suddenly remembered the yin-yang harmony technique he once acquired, which contains a cultivation method called the dragon invocation technique. This technique is extremely domineering. It can not only harvest the female cultivator's vital essence and true yin, but if the female cultivator has a special spiritual body, it can also harvest the core of her spiritual bodhi's unique characteristics. Now, hearing the words of the woman in the blue dress, he pondered whether he could use this method to solve her dragon roar physique problem and extend her life. If I were to extend her life, solving the dragon roar physique issue, it wouldn't be too much to ask her to become a guest elder for my child's mother, right? Lu Chongqing reflected inwardly while strategizing. Although the woman in front of him was just above average in appearance, not an absolute beauty, beautiful exteriors are a dime a dozen. At his level, appearance had become a secondary consideration. As long as she wasn't ugly, just looking pleasant to the eye was enough. Moreover, she had an exceptional temperament, and was not just a foundation establishment cultivator, but also an array master. These three qualities greatly surpassed countless stunning beauties. If he could bring her home, it would be a significant boost. He was planning to build a cultivation family, he needed help. It couldn't all depend on himself. Does fellow Daoist know how to resolve this constitution? The woman in the blue dress looked at Lu Chongqing lost in thought, ripples appearing in her calm, clear eyes like a tranquil lake. She had started her cultivation journey at a young age under a unique individual. In cultivation and the formation path, she had exceptional talent and had always had a smooth journey. But, to her utmost surprise, when she was breaking through to foundation establishment, the long-hidden dragon roar physique erupted, nearly costing her life. To extend her life and resolve the issue of the dragon roar physique, she traveled far and wide to Jianghu Immortal City. She even spent countless spirit stones and heavenly materials to invite a nascent soul immortal from the city to diagnose her condition. But after examining, the nascent soul immortal also expressed regret. He said that at this point, it was beyond saving. If she hadn't embarked on cultivation, she could have lived her life peacefully. But she didn't just cultivate, she also made it to foundation establishment. Despite this, she chose not to give up. Depending on her mastery of formations, she earned spirit stones in the city, purchasing various spiritual medicines and heavenly materials to preserve her life. So, as long as there was a chance, an opportunity to extend her life, she was unwilling to give up. He has a secret technique that might solve fellow Daoist's problem. However, I haven't brought the technique with me right now. May I contact you in a couple of days? Lu Chongqing looked into her shining eyes and said after a brief pause. Although the dragon invocation technique, in theory, could solve her dragon roar physique issue, he couldn't guarantee it with absolute certainty. After all, it involved the spiritual body, which isn't that simple. And this method of resolution was somewhat abrupt, making it hard to believe. So, Lu Chongqing planned to bring out the dragon invocation technique later on, pay her a visit, and let her review it before discussing the details of the transaction further. My name is Ling Zixiao. Later, fellow Daoist can find me at Zixiao Array Formations shop in the city, Ling Zixiao replied with an elegant smile. Very well, in a few days, ye shall visit fellow Daoist Ling." Lu Changsheng made a gesture of respect. He thought that since she didn't conceal her identity, she must indeed be a resident of Jianghu Immortal City. Later, he could also inquire through the 100 Dawn Chamber about her general character. Immediately afterward, the two left the private room and continued participating in the trading event. During the process, Lu Changsheng announced the items he wanted to purchase, successfully acquiring the last material needed for the 99 Profound Truth strategy and several portions of third-rank spiritual blood. The only disappointment was that the Foundation Establishment Elixir's main auxiliary ingredient, transforming dragon ginseng, had been traded away by someone else. This trip to the Immortal City can be considered a complete success. After the trading event ended, Lu Changsheng walked out of the auction venue, breathed a sigh of relief. During his more than a month in Jianghu Immortal City, he purchased all materials for third-rank talisman making, the 99 Profound Truth strategy, and the gentle spiritual blood needed for his daughter Lu Wangshu to awaken her blood talisman spiritual body. Chapter 472, Purchase completed, Dragon Roar Physique. He even inadvertently acquired a special second-rank monster core. The only thing to mention is that the materials for making third-rank talismans are a bit scarce. However, to draw a third-rank talisman, I still lack a third-rank talisman brush. If I don't have one, I'll have to make do with a second-tier top-level talisman brush. Lu Changsheng pondered to himself. The talisman brush he currently uses is of second-rank high-grade quality. It is naturally no problem to use it for making second-rank talismans. But if I want to make third-rank talismans, I must upgrade the talisman brush. Yet, in Jianghu Immortal City, there are no third-rank talisman brushes for sale. So, he planned to collect the bounty from the Heavenly Sword sect tomorrow to see if there might be a third-rank talisman brush available. Lu Changsheng went to the 100 Dawn Chamber and spent 800 spirit stones to buy detailed information about Ling Zixiao from the Zixiao Formation Pavilion. 5th grade spiritual root, at the early stages of Foundation establishment. 3 years ago, she came to Jianghu Immortal City alone. Relying on her high-grade second-rank formation skills, she earned spirit stones by setting up formations for others. But because of her Dragon Roar physique, she has been constantly seeking various cold attribute spiritual medicines and treasures of heaven and earth. The information also mentioned that it was estimated Ling Zixiao could only live for another half a year. In just 3 years, she has made a name for herself in Jianghu Immortal City through her knowledge of formations, which is indeed extraordinary. If it weren't for the setback of the Dragon Roar physique, this woman would likely have the potential to reach core formation. Lu Changsheng muttered to himself as he read through the information about Ling Zixiao. He gained some understanding of this woman. He knew that such a woman was not the naive and innocent type. If he wanted her to be the mother of his child, it would not be easy. He did not think too much about it and returned home to take out 2 technique jade slips. Through his divine sense, he imprinted the secret technique, Dragon Invocation Technique, into the 2 technique jade slips. After all, in a trade like this, you definitely couldn't let someone see the entire secret technique at once. So he split the technique into 2 parts and imprinted it onto 2 jade slips. This woman, under the backlash of Yang Qi due to the Dragon Roar physique, can only rely on cold spiritual medicines to prolong her life. Now that her lifespan is less than a year, her physical condition is probably not very optimistic. Relying solely on the Dragon Invocation Technique to plunder Yang Qi and the origin source of the spiritual body is likely not enough to solve the problem. Moreover, the Dragon Invocation Technique is incredibly domineering and is an energy drain technique, which inflicts considerable harm on the body of a female cultivator. Lu Changsheng thought of her situation, his eyes narrowing slightly. He took out another technique jade slip and imprinted several secret techniques into it. If she was willing to become the mother of his child, Lu Changsheng was also willing to pay a certain price to help her as much as possible. After all, she was indeed a rare talent worth paying a certain price for. The next morning, Lu Changsheng left Jianghu Immortal City. He changed his identity and appearance, reissued an identity plaque, and went to the enforcement hall of Jianghu Mountain to collect the bounty. Now that the auction had ended, and he had almost finished purchasing the items he needed, there was no need to delay the bounty on these two robber cultivators any longer. Upon arriving at the enforcement hall, Lu Chongsheng declared he had slain the male and female demon duo on the wanted list, and immediately a disciple of the enforcement hall led him to a side hall. Lu Chongsheng took out the coffins from his storage bag, opened the coffin lids, revealing the corpses of the two robber cultivators. The disciple first took out a white pearl and placed it on the foreheads of the two, quietly sensing. He then released a demon beast that sniffed at the two bodies. After confirming their identities, he asked Lu Chongsheng to wait and called an executor from the enforcement hall. Indeed, these are the male and female demon duo, Fang Qianduan and Huang Qixia. Fellow Daoist, by slaying these two the bounty totals 48,000, each point of bounty money can be exchanged for one spirit stone, or for equivalent value in elixir medicines, magic artifacts, secret techniques, or treasures of heaven and earth, the executor said to Lu Chongsheng after inspecting the bodies. 48,000 in bounty money, Lu Chongsheng responded with a slight nod. He acknowledged that the two were worth 48,000 spirit stones. It was not a very high amount. But it was not small either. Moreover, such bounty money could be exchanged for many scarce commodities not available on the market. It was not something that could be measured with a one-to-one spirit stone conversion. Do you have a third-rank talisman brush for exchange? Lu Chongsheng asked aloud. A third-rank talisman brush? The shopkeeper, hearing Lu Chongsheng's words, was somewhat surprised. Because talisman pens, unlike other magic artifacts, did not possess combat capabilities aside from talisman making. They were needed only by talisman masters. It was also rare for people to exchange for a third-rank talisman pen. Are you a third-rank talisman master? The shopkeeper asked, his tone now more polite. Even within the Heavenly Sword sect, they would treat a third-rank talisman master as an honored guest, offering them a guest elder's stipend. Elder is joking, I am merely acquainted with a second-rank talisman master and wish to gift them a third-rank talisman pen, Lu Chongsheng said indifferently. We have third-rank talisman pens. Upon hearing this, the shopkeeper asked no further questions. He immediately took out an album, which displayed several third-rank talisman pens. However, these talisman pens were all quite expensive. The cheapest ones cost 50,000 in bounties. Elder, is there any way to make up the remaining bounties besides completing more bounty tasks? Lu Chongsheng inquired. If that was the case, he found it rather troublesome. If you're only short 2,000 in bounties, you can pay 4,000 spirit stones, and it'll make up the difference for you, the shopkeeper stated. 2 spirit stones for 1 bounty, that's fucking extortion. Lu Chongsheng cursed inwardly upon hearing this. But the thought of undertaking tasks for a mere 2,000 bounties did not appeal to him. After all, finding criminals wasn't so easy. Thank you for your trouble, Elder. Lu Chongsheng took out 4,000 spirit stones and exchanged them for the cheapest third-rank talisman pen. For him, a third-rank low-quality talisman pen would suffice for a long period. I didn't expect that someone would exchange for a talisman pen, it's quite rare. After Lu Chongsheng had left, the shopkeeper shook his head slightly. Most bounty hunters would use their bounties to exchange for rare elixir medicines or some sort of exotic treasure. Few people exchanged for magic artifacts. Let alone talisman pens. But he didn't pay it much mind. Finally, everything is ready. Later, I can try drawing a third-rank spirit talisman. If I use the third-rank spirit talisman as the main and supplement it with second-rank spirit talismans, the power of the talisman formation could go up another level. Lu Chongsheng was not too grieved about parting with his 4,000 spirit stones. After all, money is meant to be spent. He left Jianghu Immortal City, changed his identity, and arrived at the Zishao Formation shop in the inner city district. May I ask what the customer would like to purchase? As soon as he entered, he was greeted. I have an appointment with Ling, fellow Daoist, please notify them, Lu Changsheng spoke. He did not conceal his cultivation aura, so upon hearing his request, the shopkeeper was very cordial and invited him to sit and wait to the side, then went upstairs to inform. Before long, a woman dressed in a light blue skirt, her appearance elegant and calm, with a graceful figure, Ling Zixiao, descended from upstairs. Fellow Daoist Ling, we had an agreement at yesterday's auction, hence my visit today, Lu Changsheng said, greeting Ling Zixiao with a clasped hand. Please, fellow Daoist. Ling Zixiao, recognizing Lu Changsheng's identity upon hearing him, immediately invited him with a graceful, composed smile to the guest hall on the second floor. Even though she was extremely eager to know about the secret technique Lu Changsheng had mentioned before that could solve her dragon roar physique issue, she still maintained a calm composure like a chrysanthemum, pouring him some spiritual tea. Fellow Daoist Ling, you can take a look at this secret technique and see if it can solve the issue with your dragon roar physique, Lu Changsheng, after taking a sip of the spiritual tea, took out a jade slip and said. Chapter 473, fell for Ling at first sight, hence wanted to become Dao companions. _1 Ling Zixiao took the technique jade slip and checked its contents with her divine sense. A moment later, she retracted her mental spirit. A faint blush emerged on the contours of her pretty face. Unexpectedly, the cultivation technique Lu Changsheng spoke of turned out to be a secret replenishing technique. Fellow Daoist, this secret technique is indeed extraordinary, and it might just resolve my dragon roar physique. However, my current condition, with yang energy eroding my meridians and dantian, has reached a critical stage. I fear that I can't withstand such a secret technique for replenishment, Ling Zixiao spoke with a soft sigh. She had spent 3 years in Jianghu Immortal City, seeking countless methods. Among them, there were methods to suppress the dragon roar physique. But since her breakthrough to foundation establishment, the dragon roar physique erupted completely, yang energy ravaged her body, her meridians and dantian withered away, making it impossible to recover. Ling Daoist, may I take a look at your condition? Lu Changsheng said upon hearing these words. He had previously speculated that Ling Zixiao, with yang energy scorching her body and withered meridians and dantian, might not be able to withstand the replenishment from dragon invocation technique. Therefore, he had prepared other backups. However, he still needed to see Ling Zixiao's condition before making a judgment. Please do, fellow Daoist. Ling Zixiao graciously rolled up her sleeves, revealing her slender wrist. Below her clear, jade-like wrist, one could see the pale azure, transparent veins. Lu Changsheng took hold of her wrist, and injected a thread of his divine sense and mana to inspect her condition. After a short while, Lu Changsheng's brows furrowed deeply. He knew Ling Zixiao's condition was bad. But he hadn't expected it to be this severe. Within her blood and meridians flowed an extremely yang qi, constantly eroding her flesh, meridians, and viscera. As a result, her meridians were nearly withered. Her foundation establishment mana, probably only 1 or 2% could be displayed. If she were to exert herself fully, she would likely rupture her meridians and dantian and perish like a broken jade. Under such circumstances, trying to replenish through dragon invocation technique posed a significant risk. After all, dragon invocation technique is a very domineering replenishing secret technique. To replenish the dragon roar of yang energy and spiritual body origin source in her body was bound to damage her fundamental bodily functions. And Ling Zixiao's current physique was akin to a porcelain filled with cracks. It couldn't withstand the slightest disturbance, it would shatter upon touch. If Yin-Yang Nirvana art and life transference technique are used in conjunction with dragon invocation technique, could this condition be resolved? Lu Changsheng released her wrist and pondered to himself. Although he wasn't a physician, he understood the effects of cultivation techniques. In his view, this method of resolving the complications brought by dragon invocation technique should be feasible. When Lu Miaoge was at death's door, hanging by a thread, he had revived her using these two secret techniques, proving that as long as there is a sliver of vitality, it should be possible. Fellow Daoist Yi, what do you think? Ling Zixiao looked towards the contemplative Lu Changsheng and spoke up. To her, the risks of this secret technique were indeed too high. If Lu Changsheng claimed to have a 3 or 4 out of 10 chance, then for the sake of survival, she would be willing to try. After all, her current state was solely maintained by spending money on life extension. If she couldn't find a cure, even with heaven and earth treasures prolonging her life, she wouldn't live past a year. Ling Daoist, your condition is even worse than I imagined. If this secret technique were to be performed, to plunder yang energy and spiritual body origin source would indeed be extremely dangerous. Lu Changsheng exhaled softly as he spoke. This humble one understands. You have taken great trouble, fellow Daoist. If you have any formation needs, feel free to select anything from the store. Ling Zixiao sighed slightly upon hearing this. She did not show too much disappointment. Over the years, her various experiences had largely enabled her to maintain equanimity. However, Yi has not come without alternatives. Ling Daoist may want to consider these 2 secret techniques as well. Lu Changsheng took out 2 technique jade slips, prepared in advance, for Yin Yang Nirvana art and life transference technique. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao's calm eyes lit up with surprise and joy. She hadn't expected that after Lu Changsheng examined her, there would be other options. This sparked hope in her, and she took the 2 jade slips from Lu Changsheng's hands to review them. After a long while, Ling Zixiao opened her eyes, in which a flicker of excitement and elation shimmered. These 2 secret techniques were exactly complementary to the dragon invocation technique, offering her a glimpse of hope for resolving her condition. However, being a foundation establishment cultivator, she knew matters were not so simple. Firstly, one needed to be highly proficient with all 3 secret techniques, especially with Dragon Invocation Technique and Yin Yang Nirvana Art. Dragon Invocation Technique must be cultivated to an exceedingly high level to precisely replenish another spiritual body origin source during replenishment, while Yin Yang Nirvana Art must be cultivated to the highest realm to reverse Yin and Yang, transforming replenishment into restoration. Furthermore, when her life was at stake, such a person would be willing to burn their origin essence with life transference technique, sacrificing their own lifespan to save hers. For a cultivator, lifespan is precious. How many cultivators are willing to spend their own life to heal another? Sigh. Ling Zixiao exhaled lightly. She looked at Lu Changsheng with clear, lucid eyes and asked in a lilting voice, "Fellow Daoist, your preparations are so thorough, surely your intention isn't simply to gain my formation legacy or to have me set up formations, is it?" Having spent many years in Jianghu Immortal City, she had experienced a lot. Through these 3 secret techniques, she surmised Lu Changsheng came well prepared with more than simple goals. Since Ling Daoist asks so, Yi will no longer beat around the bush, Lu Changsheng said with a light chuckle. As he spoke, his body was enveloped in light, unraveling the camouflage of the misty sky bead. Suddenly, the once heroic face with a touch of roughness transformed into that of a striking and elegant youth with peerless beauty and an ethereal demeanor. Chapter 474, Fell for Ling at first sight, hence wanted to become Dao companions. The young man, clad in a green robe, stood tall and straight, embodying a fresh vigor that was calming to the heart, simply by sitting still. "I'm planning to establish a family power and I need an array master to hold the fort. Yesterday, I was smitten with Ling Zixiao at first sight, so I wish to form a Dao companion bond with you, to support each other and cultivate the great Dao together. If Ling Daoist friend is willing, I will do everything in my power to help you resolve the issues with your dragon roar physique. Of course, if Ling Daoist friend is unwilling, I won't force the issue. These 3 secret techniques can be exchanged for other goods." Lu Changsheng reverted to his true appearance, his face handsome and otherworldly, and finished the tea in his cup in one gulp before speaking out. After reading Ling Zixiao's message yesterday, he had been considering making her the mother of his child. Not only was Ling Zixiao an array master, he was preparing to establish a family. A family could not stand on one person alone, he couldn't handle everything by himself. Nowadays, cultivation, childbearing, talisman making, alchemy, and educating his children were already keeping him quite busy. Even if he won a formation through the system lottery, it would still consume a great deal of his time and energy. Moreover, once the family was established, there would be even more issues and troubles. Relying on the children he currently had at home would be difficult to manage. Therefore, many matters would eventually fall upon him as their father. He needed someone to share the burdens with him. Ling Zixiao was not just an array master. She was also a foundation establishment cultivator. If the family had another foundation establishment cultivator, it would greatly ease his burdens. Moreover, Ling Zixiao had an exceptional talent and potential for improvement both in her cultivation level and the formation path. Such a talented and unattached female cultivator was a golden opportunity he intended to seize and make her the mother of his child. After all, given his current status, having a mere concubine to bear children was hardly an issue. What he needed now were wives like Xiao Xia and Lu Miaoge, who could not only bear children but also share worries and difficulties, build the family, and support each other on the cultivation journey, a wife, a Dao companion. He saw Ling Zixiao as just that kind. She came to Jianghu Immortal City alone and made a name for herself through her mastery of formation paths. This spoke not just of her talent and knowledge of formations but also her acumen and abilities. However, this also meant she was not a naive and easily flustered girl. Winning her over to become the mother of his child would not be easy. Thus, after some thought, he decided to keep it simple and straightforward. Using the issue of the dragon roar physique as a starting point, he proposed for them to form a Dao companion relationship, starting from there. The bond between cultivators as Dao companions is similar to that of husband and wife. But it's more free-spirited. If their Dao aligns, they support each other and advance together. If not, they part ways without hard feelings. Of course, if Ling Zixiao was unwilling, or if she preferred to take the techniques to find someone else to resolve her issue, he would not press the matter. After all, a melon forcibly twisted off its vine is not sweet. This kind of Dao companion, this kind of wife, he would not force it if it were solely for the purpose of satisfying thirst or bearing children. Ling Zixiao, upon seeing Lu Changsheng before her and hearing his words, was stunned. On the one hand, she was shocked at how she had failed to detect any sign of Lu Changsheng's disguise and was astonished by his transformation. On the other hand, Lu Changsheng's remarks caught her off guard, leaving her astonished and unprepared. Although she ventured alone to Jianghu Immortal City and faced many challenges, she indeed lacked experience in matters of the heart. She hadn't expected that Lu Changsheng's intention was to form a Dao companion bond with her. However, she was not the type to blush and be shy easily, quickly regaining her composure. "You're quite direct, Daoist Yi." Ling Zixiao chuckled lightly, her face reflecting a poised and elegant demeanor. Assessing Lu Changsheng's handsome features, she spoke, "It seems that you are confident in resolving my dragon roar physique issue. I just wonder, if Daoist Yi intervenes, what is your chance of success?" Although Lu Changsheng's words were very direct, with a clear purpose and utilitarian nature, she felt more at ease because of that. After all, why would someone go to such lengths, at such a great cost, to resolve the issue of her dragon roar physique without any motive or goal? Furthermore, for some reason, she found Lu Changsheng's current appearance and sincere speech trustworthy, which made her inexplicably trust him. This caused Ling Zixiao to speculate in her heart whether Lu Changsheng could be some flower-picking heretic cultivator, intending to harvest the origin source of her dragon roar physique. Otherwise, why would the methods to resolve her issue all be dual cultivation techniques? And now, with his changed appearance and a charm that seemed akin to a bewitching technique, it kindled a familiarity in her heart. She also had to admit, albeit grudgingly, that Lu Changsheng's appearance was indeed that of a rare beauty. The features by themselves might not be perfect, but together, they presented an indescribable harmony, just right, making him appear handsomely dashing, without a single flaw to find. What attracted her most was Lu Changsheng's demeanor, which was as refreshing as a spring breeze, and his celestial-like quality. It was extremely comforting to behold, eliciting a favorable impression and a spontaneous desire to be in his company for a long time. Since Ling Daoist friend has seen these 3 secret techniques, you should know that theoretically, they can resolve your situation with the dragon roar physique. As for these 3 secret techniques, I have already mastered them to the point of perfection. With the addition of several life-saving elixirs, I am 90% certain that you will be safe throughout the process. However, as to whether it can completely eradicate the dragon roar physique, I cannot guarantee that, as it involves the spiritual body and mysteries I am not fully aware of. Chapter 475, Fell for Ling at first sight, hence wanted to become Dao companions. Lu Changsheng's eyes were profound, his expression calm as he spoke. He observed Ling Zixio's eyes and expression. He knew his ploy of being a handsome man should have some effect. After so many years of practicing the immortal beauty technique, coupled with the effect of the peach blossom goo, his appearance and temperament, if not having reached the immortal beauty described in the technique, were at least half a step to immortal beauty. Especially the effect of the peach blossom goo, which gave him an inexplicable attraction to the opposite sex. This kind of attractive affinity could sometimes have some nice effects. What does it matter if a man is a bit scheming, especially when it relies on one's own charm? Lu Changsheng thought to himself. Alright, I, Ling Zixiao, am willing to become Daoist companions with you. Ling Zixiao looked at Lu Changsheng, pondered for a moment, and then said with a delightful smile, like a plum blossom blooming alone in the bitter cold, offering a stunning and beautiful sight. Daoist friend, don't you want to find out more about my situation? For instance, I am skilled in such techniques, aren't you afraid I might be a heretic cultivator? Lu Changsheng, seeing Ling Zixiao agree so straightforwardly, raised his eyebrows in surprise. To have Ling Zixiao become the mother of his child, he had prepared some persuasions. After all, the Dragon Invocation technique and the Yin-Yang Nirvana technique were both regarded as parasitic cultivation techniques. One look and you can tell they were not techniques cultivated by decent people. Maybe they would cause others to hesitate. Ling Zixio's straightforward agreement instead caught him off guard. Does it really matter whether or not I'm a heretic cultivator? Ling Zixiao looked at Lu Changsheng's handsome features, smiled gently, and said with graceful composure, I am well aware of my own bodily condition. Being able to live until now is already a stroke of immense luck, even relying on rare and precious treasures to sustain my life, it's difficult to survive for another year. I have looked into these 3 secret techniques, and indeed, there is hope to resolve the issues with my body, and since you are so confident and sincere, I am naturally willing to try. As for whether or not you are a heretic cultivator, to me, that's not important. All I know is that you can save my life. You and I becoming Daoist companions will support each other and move forward together on the path of the great Tao. Ling Zixio's eyes were crystal clear as a spring, her demeanor peaceful and refined. Having spoken, a hint of playful smile appeared on her face as she said, Moreover, I observe that you do not seem to be a heretic cultivator. If you truly were a heretic cultivator, would have no choice but to accept it, to follow my husband's lead. Her words and expression lacked some composure and grace but brought Lu Changsheng a feeling of closeness. Good. Lu Changsheng responded with a smile upon hearing this. He thought that her ability to make a name for herself in Jianghu Immortal City meant she was no ordinary woman. She couldn't be measured by common standards. And that saved him a lot of trouble. Since Ling Daoist has agreed and is willing to become Daoist companions with me, I won't hide anything. My name is Lu Changsheng, from Qingyun region, and I already have several wives and concubines at home. But rest assured, Ling Daoist, if you have any concerns in your heart, after serving my family for 20 years, you are also free to leave. Lu Changsheng spoke openly and honestly. Now that she had agreed to be his Daoist companion and return home with him, he needn't deceive her any longer. After all, she would eventually find out these things. As for the 20 years, if he couldn't make her fall for him completely by then, he would not say more. As long as you can save my life, as long as you do not betray me, I will surely not betray you, and we will support each other, progressing together. Ling Xixiu's eyes were clear, her decision firm as she directly made an oath bound by her heart demon. She was a smart person. Once she had made up her mind, she wouldn't waver. As for Lu Chongqing mentioning that he already had wives and concubines, she didn't seem to care much about that. In the mortal world, the rich and powerful often have a full house of wives and concubines. In the cultivation world, such skewing of resources is even more pronounced. The fact that he looked as he did, being a foundation establishment cultivator and an alchemist with many wives and concubines, seemed perfectly normal to her. Moreover, she was well aware that this so-called partnership was nothing more than a title. Lu Chongqing offered this title as a way to show his sincerity. How could she possibly expect a loving marital relationship? Please rest assured, Ling Daoist, you can prepare a spiritual contract as a marital bond. Lu can sign the partnership contract and swear an oath to the heart demon, promising to do everything within my power to address your situation, Lu Chongqing said upon hearing the other party swear an oath to the heart demon. Though the two of them had formed a partnership, they both understood that it was nothing but a title, an exchange of interests. Whether it was for his own peace of mind or to reassure the other party, a spiritual contract could provide an additional layer of security. Very well, please give me a moment, Daoist Lu, said Ling Zixiao with a smile upon hearing this. Knowing that Lu Chongqing was asking her to prepare the spiritual contract was also a sign of sincerity, showing that he had no intention of deceiving her. Immediately, she went out to purchase a spiritual contract. Thank you for waiting, Daoist. An hour later, Ling Zixiao returned. She brought out a spiritual contract. It was a second-tier top-level spiritual contract. Besides the mana imprint, there was the soul aura that all cultivators possessed. Its binding power was almost equal to that of a heart demon oath. If violated, one would suffer backlash not only against their mana and soul, but also the effects of a heart demon. Immediately, the two signed the partnership contract on the spiritual contract, along with their respective duties as partners. Over the course of their partnership, Lu Chongqing pledged to do everything in his power to resolve Ling Zixiu's dragon roar physique issue, while Ling Zixiao would contribute to the construction of Lu Chengsheng's family by setting up formations and the great formation for the family. Now that we have become Daoist partners, I shall address you as Lu Lang, and you may call me Zi Xiao, said Ling Zixiao, her voice tender and soft after signing the contract. All right, Zi Xiao. Regarding the matter of your dragon roar physique, please wait a little longer. I shall prepare for a few more days, craft some life-saving elixirs, and then begin addressing the issue, Lu Chongqing spoke. Although he had 3 secret techniques and believed the situation was almost under control, he still wanted to take every precaution now that the opportunity presented itself. In this way, should any danger befall Ling Zixiao, he could save some of his origin source energy and lifespan. Thank you for your efforts, Lu Lang, said Ling Zixiao, dressed in blue, her figure graceful and her demeanor refined. She stepped forward and gently embraced Lu Chongqing, lifting her chin and lightly pressing her moist lips against his face, a gesture of affection. Lu Chongqing, smelling the intoxicating fragrance like that of orchids, wrapped his arms around her exquisite figure. He could distinctly feel that Ling Zixiu's body, unlike her natural demeanor, was slightly stiff. It seemed she was probably inexperienced in matters of men and women. Faced with this situation, as someone more experienced, he naturally needed to take the initiative. His gentle eyes rested on the beautiful woman, his gaze landing on her elegant and refined face. Holding her delicate shoulders, he leaned in gently and captured her crystal-clear, lush, soft lips. Suddenly, he deftly drew out the sweetness. Ling Zixiao was taken aback as if struck by lightning. Her long eyelashes fluttered slightly under her half-closed eyes, a soft moan escaped through her nose, and her body trembled slightly, stiffening a bit. As a foundation establishment cultivator and an array master, she had never encountered such a situation and was momentarily at a loss. However, moments later, she found her way without any guidance and wrapped her arms around the young man's neck. Chapter 476, Asking for more guidance from Lu Lang_1, After a long while, Ling Zixiao seemed to have caught her breath from suffocation. Her delicate body was soft, her fair skin like snow, and her beautiful face flushed like the morning glow, alluring and enchanting. Zixiao, if we are to heal through dual cultivation, this won't do, Lu Changsheng, with his handsome face, gently smiled as he embraced the bowtie's fragrant shoulders and whispered into her ear. The previously composed and serene lady was now in his arms, showing such an endearingly shy and charming color that it was overwhelmingly satisfying. Ling Zixiao's body was already limp, and a breath by her ear made her heart flutter uncontrollably. Her eyebrows arched, and with a slight frown in her beautiful eyes, she said in a delicate voice, "I would ask for Lu Lang's further guidance." "As Dao companions, it is only natural," Lu Changsheng replied. Having said that, he captured her bright, moist lips once again. Since they had to use the dragon invocation technique to heal Ling Zixiao's condition, it was necessary for Ling Zixiao to get used to the intimate contact between man and woman in advance. Otherwise, if they were to proceed without any cooperation, it might affect the healing. As the oppressive and plundering sensation invaded again, Ling Zixiao's body softened even more, and her heart skipped a beat. But with her recent experience, she slowly closed her bright eyes, her long lashes casting a shadow of shyness, and her hands gently resting on Lu Changsheng's shoulders, awkwardly reciprocating. Their lips and teeth intertwined. At times gently like a breeze and drizzling rain, at times suddenly like a gusty downpour, and at times fiercely like a raging tempest. Tisk, tsk, tisk, as time passed, Ling Zixiao gradually mastered the technique. Knowing how to respond properly, she was no longer as bashfully nervous and tense as before. This inwardly impressed Lu Changsheng, truly worthy of being an array master. Her comprehension and learning ability were indeed extraordinary. Immediately after, he began a more advanced teaching. Just as she had adjusted and mastered some skills, under this advanced action, Ling Zixiao suddenly trembled as if electrified, almost collapsing. The rhythm between her lips was instantly disrupted, her breath becoming rapid and breathless. Seeing this, Lu Changsheng slowly released the sweet softness from his grasp. His eyes were tender as he looked at the beautiful lady, as lovely as a plum blossom in the cold. At this moment, her beautiful face was red as sunset clouds, burning hot. Below her curved eyebrows, her eyes were as clear and sparkling as Choshui, brimming with charm. "Lu Lang, I have some things to attend to later. I shall accompany you another day." Ling Zixiao's cheeks were flushingly enticing, and her eyes roamed as she exhaled a breath as fragrant as orchids. With that, her eyes slightly downcast, she hurriedly straightened her disheveled dress, her heart pounding. Although she didn't reject becoming intimate with Lu Changsheng and had psychologically prepared herself, this pace was still a bit overwhelming for her. No worries, there is plenty of time ahead. Attend to your affairs first." Lu Changsheng watched the lovely figure before him, chuckled, and seemed unconcerned about the truth of her words. Since the matter had been decided, he wasn't eager to immediately conquer Ling Zixiao. It was only right to give her some time to prepare. Besides, they were currently in her shop's guest lounge, which wasn't very convenient. "Zixiao, if you need anything, you can come find me at Treasure Elixir Pavilion. I will mostly be there these days," Lu Changsheng announced. He had previously promised the sisters of the Li family to attend the alchemist position. Therefore, he would stay in the Immortal City for another month. This month would be just enough time to concoct elixir medicines for Ling Zixiao and resolve the issue of her dragon roar physique. Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Upon hearing this name, Ling Zixiao was somewhat surprised. Having lived in Jianghu Immortal City for many years, she certainly knew of Treasure Elixir Pavilion. She had also heard that a new alchemy master had been invited to the pavilion not long ago. But she hadn't paid much attention to the news. Now, hearing Lu Changsheng's words, she immediately realized that this alchemy master at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion was none other than Lu Changsheng himself. Alright, once I have attended to my affairs, I will seek out Lu Lang. If you need anything, you can also come find me at any time, Ling Zixiao said, her head slightly bowed and her face still flushed with an attractive rosy hue. Emicham. Lu Changsheng nodded, and with a slight shift of his mental spirit, his entire body glowed. His handsome visage instantly transformed into that of a ruggedly attractive middle-aged man in his 30s. His presence and demeanor also changed in an instant. What an astonishing illusion disguise technique! Ling Zixiao, witnessing this transformation, couldn't help but marvel internally as there was no trace of Lu Changsheng's disguise to be detected. Lu Lang, allow me to see you out, Ling Zixiao offered, intending to rise. Given your current state, there's no need for you to see me off, Lu Changsheng said with a smile, noting the blush on Ling Zixiao's face. Upon hearing this, she didn't insist any further. Huh. After watching Lu Changsheng leave, Ling Zixiao sighed deeply, the shy color on her face dissipating. She tidied her clothes and hair, and with a cleansing technique, she immediately restored her dignified and graceful appearance. Lu Changsheng, she murmured the name to herself. Since he was willing to swear an oath on his heart demon and sign a spiritual contract, his motives should be just as he says, aiming for my formation skills, or perhaps, the origin source of my dragon roar physique, so regardless, for now, he bears me no ill will. Ling Zixiao's face was calm as she pondered inwardly. She decisively agreed to Lu Changsheng's request, not only for the hope of curing her dragon roar physique and saving her life, but also because her years of experience allowed her to feel, through Lu Changsheng's actions and demeanor, that his words didn't seem false, and he wasn't some heretic cultivator or demon cultivator. Of course, she couldn't deny that her decision was influenced by Lu Changsheng's appearance, his bearing, his affable charm, and the attraction he exuded. Chapter 477, asking for more guidance from Lu Lang. She had been cultivating since she was young, immersed in the formation path. She had never considered emotional matters. After her breakthrough to foundation establishment, especially because of her dragon roar physique, she devoted all her energy to the formation path and life extension. Having been so busy for many years, with less than 1 year of life remaining, she felt a hint of loneliness in her heart. Lu Changsheng's marriage proposal, although full of utilitarianism and interest exchange, piqued her interest, and she entertained the idea of giving it a try. After all, when one is about to die, naturally there are fewer concerns. Thus, she decided to accept decisively, to give it a shot and take a gamble. At worst, it would just mean death. However, the actions of Lu Changsheng, the oath against the heart demon, and the signing of the spiritual contract, reassured her quite a bit. She knew that Lu Changsheng must have some confidence in saving her. As for the future, they could only take it one step at a time. However, this person is probably not any ordinary cultivator. Ling Zixiao thought of Lu Changsheng's adept actions just now that had left her feeling weak and breathless, and she scoffed lightly. Then, she left the shop and went to the Heaven Knowledge Tower in the Immortal City. This was the largest intelligence organization in Jianghu Immortal City. Its background was very mysterious, not only spreading across the Jianghu country cultivation realm but also throughout the surrounding cultivation countries. I want to buy information. Do you have any about this person? In the Qingyun region, his name is Lu Changsheng. Ling Zixiao arrived on the second floor of Heaven Knowledge Tower, inside a room, and lightly tapped, making a water mirror appear. Shown in the water mirror was the image of Lu Changsheng. However, this water mirror could only reveal Lu Changsheng's facial features and couldn't capture his immortal-like demeanor. Qingyun region, Lu Changsheng? The attendant was a person dressed in black. She glanced at the face in the water mirror, then took out a crystal and held it against her forehead with both hands. After a while, the information on this person was last updated 2 years ago, the price is 300 spirit stones, the person in black announced the price. 2 years ago, 300 spirit stones? Ling Zixiao was slightly surprised upon hearing the price. Okay, she nodded immediately and took out spirit stones from her storage bag. With this jade slip, when you purchase subsequent information about this person in the future, you will only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones, the black-clothed person said after taking the spirit stones, handing her a white jade slip. Understood, Ling Zixiao nodded. She had bought quite a bit of information from Heaven Knowledge Tower before and knew the rules here. She pressed the jade slip against her forehead to check the information about Lu Chongsheng inside. What? Ling Zixiao, seeing the information about Lu Chongsheng, showed a look of astonishment. Having heard the price of 300 spirit stones, she felt something was off. Information about a foundation establishment cultivator couldn't possibly be so cheap. Yet, looking at the information about Lu Chongsheng in the jade slip, she was taken aback. Qingzhou Mountain, son-in-law of the Lu family. Relying on his talent in talisman making, he earned a significant position within the Lu family. 7th level energy refinement, 2nd rank talisman master. Has 7 wives and 13 concubines. Over 100 children. If it were not for her trust in Heaven Knowledge Tower and the fact that his appearance matched, she would have thought this information was faulty. Because it didn't match at all. From her brief encounter before, she knew that Lu Chongsheng was a foundation establishment cultivator. And also an alchemy master. Do you have more detailed information about this person? Ling Zixiao looked at the black-clothed person and asked. Such information will not be too detailed in our Heaven Knowledge Tower records, but if the customer needs, we can dispatch someone to search for detailed information for an additional fee, the person in black replied. Although their Heaven Knowledge Tower was an intelligence organization, they couldn't possibly have detailed information on everything. The fact that Lu Changsheng's information was recorded was because he had ascended to 2nd rank talisman master. No need, Ling Zixiao shook her head after hearing this. Having the Heaven Knowledge Tower investigate would take months or even years. She simply didn't have the time to wait that long. Moreover, if Lu Chongsheng knew she was inquiring about his detailed information, it might lead to his displeasure. Lu Chongsheng, Ling Zixiao looked at the information in the jade slip, thinking of the Lu Chongsheng she had met before, her beautiful eyes slightly narrowed. Senior Yi, you're back. Having left Zi Shao's formation shop, Lu Chongsheng went to the treasure elixir pavilion. In the hall, Li Xingyu, dressed in a light yellow skirt and with a sweet expression, saw him and immediately showed delight. Xingyu, Lu Chongsheng nodded with a slight smile. After briefly chatting with the young girl, he learned that someone from the Li family had come to visit him. Someone from the Li family is here to see me? Lu Chongsheng raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. He naturally knew of this Li family, it was the clan of the Li sisters. Having no prior acquaintance with the Li family, he wondered why they would come to visit him. However, he immediately guessed it must be related to the Li sisters. Given the situation at Treasure Elixir Pavilion before, it was evident that the Li family was intent on forcing the sisters into a difficult position in Immortal City. Now, with his presence revitalizing the business at Treasure Elixir Pavilion, it was sure to have irked the Li family. So, this visit was likely to bode ill. It's fine, just inform me the next time he comes over, he said casually to the young girl. Over the past month, his impression of the Li sisters had been quite favorable. He was also willing to lend them a hand. Thank you, Senior Yi. Li Xingyia's cute face immediately lit up with joy upon hearing this. The visit from the Li family yesterday had caused her much worry. She was afraid of causing trouble for Lu Chongsheng. And she was concerned that Lu Chongsheng would hence leave Treasure Elixir Pavilion because of it. No worries, I'm here. I'm off to refine some elixirs, let me know if you need anything, Lu Chongsheng said with a smile. He made his way to the alchemy chamber in the backyard. At that moment, Li Xingruo was in the midst of alchemy. Seeing Lu Changsheng's arrival, she immediately showed a delighted expression. It was clear she was also troubled by the Li family's visit. "Senior Yi, if this matter is going to cause trouble for you, you can leave," Li Xingrua said to Lu Changsheng, her voice low and lips slightly pursed. She knew she couldn't secure a resident alchemist because of her family. But she never expected the Li family to go so far as to send someone directly to her. This made her both angry and annoyed. "Since I've agreed to be your resident alchemist and accepted your spirit stones, how could I just leave like that?" "Don't worry, take it easy," Lu Changsheng said with a light chuckle, patting Li Xingrua on the head. He could understand the worries of the Li sisters, but to him, this was hardly any trouble. After all, the Li family, plainly speaking, was just a foundation establishment family. If he were worried about trouble, he would not have accepted the position of resident alchemist in the first place. Li Xingrua felt an unprecedented sense of security when she heard the calm and gentle words of Lu Changsheng and felt his generous hand on her head, reminiscent of times when her father was around, and she didn't have to worry or think too much about anything. "Thank you, Senior Yi," Li Xingrua said softly, her lips pursed. "Just be at ease, I've got everything under control," Lu Changsheng said, waving his hand nonchalantly. As he spoke, he took out a jade slip, made a list, and handed it to Li Xingrua. "Xingrua, when you have time, help me acquire these few types of spiritual medicines." Although he had purchased many alchemy spirit medicines, they were all for refining breakthrough elixirs, second-rank breakthrough elixirs, 3 suns elixirs, harmonizing energy elixirs, and true essence elixirs, elixirs that were useful to him. It wasn't possible to buy just any spiritual medicine. This list contained some auxiliary materials for the foundation establishment elixir, as well as ingredients needed to refine a life-saving elixir for Ling Zixiao. "Certainly, Senior Yi," Li Xingrua replied upon hearing his request, taking the jade slip and responding immediately. "Your elixir is almost ready," Lu Changsheng glanced at the nearby pill furnace and reminded her. Li Xingrua promptly snapped back to attention, watching the pill furnace with a serious expression. As soon as the spiritual mechanism of the furnace activated, she formed hand seals with both hands and called out, "Solidify. Open." After the elixir solidified, the lid of the furnace flew open, and the pills soared out. You didn't grasp the timing for the elixir condensation just now, and the heat was a bit too strong earlier, causing some of the medicinal effects in the liquid to evaporate. Lu Changsheng pointed out the issues immediately after seeing the elixirs, which resulted in 9 successful pills, 2 waste pills, and 3 inferior pills. "Thank you for the guidance, Senior Yi," Li Xingrua said thoughtfully as she nodded her head. She then tried another batch, looking to review and improve. "Senior Yi," just then, Li Xingyia's voice came from outside. "What's the matter?" Lu Changsheng asked promptly. "The member of the Li family who came to visit you is here," Li Xingyu said. Chapter 478, Indeed No Decent Person, Start Healing. _1 I didn't expect the Li family to come so soon. It seems they must have someone keeping watch near the treasure elixir pavilion. Otherwise, how could they have shown up just after I returned? Alright, I'll take a look. Lu Changsheng stepped out of the alchemy chamber and prepared to see what they wanted. Li Xingrua also went out with him. The 3 of them arrived at the shop's main hall. There stood a man in his 30s, dressed in an ink-colored magical robe, with a gaunt face. Upon seeing Lu Changsheng and the 2 sisters approaching, he immediately greeted them respectfully. "Li Changhu of the Li family, at your service, Master Yi. What can I do for you?" There's an old saying that one shouldn't slap a smiling face. Seeing how polite the other party was, Lu Changsheng didn't respond with cold words but spoke indifferently instead. "I've heard of Master Yi's great reputation, and I've specially come to pay my respects." Li Changhu took out a beautifully crafted gift box from his storage bag and politely said. "No need for gifts. If you have something to say, speak. If there's nothing, I have alchemy to do." Lu Changsheng looked at the behavior of the other party, his expression indifferent, without any sign of fluctuation, and said. He wondered what the Li family meant by this visit. It didn't seem like they were here to cause trouble. Or perhaps it was a strategy to first offer gifts and then troopers? To prevent him from interfering in the matter between the Li sisters and the Li family? Hearing that Master Yi has recently arrived in Immortal City, our Li family wishes to inquire whether Master Yi intends to settle down here. Our Li family's base, Great Cliff Mountain, is not far from Immortal City. Our clan doesn't only have 4 foundation establishment great cultivators but also inheritance from a second-rank alchemist. I have come to invite Master Yi to become a guest elder for our Li family, as long as Master Yi is willing, Li Jianghu said with a smile and in a polite tone, indicating the intention of his visit. Upon hearing this, Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu, the 2 sisters, glared at Li Jianghu in anger. It was precisely because of the Li family that their treasure elixir pavilion had always failed to invite a presiding alchemist. Now that they finally had Lu Chongsheng, the Li family immediately sent someone over, causing them considerable irritation. I have already signed a contract with the treasure elixir pavilion. Am now the presiding alchemist of the shop. So please, you should leave, Lu Chongsheng said directly upon hearing this. Since that is the case, I have intruded. Still, please accept this token of goodwill, Li Jianghu said upon hearing this, not insisting further. His main purpose for coming was to test the relationship between Lu Chongsheng and the Li sisters. And now, judging by Lu Changsheng's attitude, he mostly understood that Lu Chongsheng did not hold the Li family in high regard and was clearly on the sisters' side. I don't accept rewards without merit, no need for gifts, Lu Chongsheng said, waving his hand. Master Yi, actually, I came here to apologize to my 2 nieces and to clarify the misunderstanding from the past, Li Jianghu sighed and said out loud. He implied there was a misunderstanding between Li Xingrua and her sister and the family from the beginning. The family had no ill will towards the Li sisters originally. It was merely because a foundation establishment ancestor had some grievances with their parents, resulting in domineering actions. But before the matter was settled and dealt with by the family elder, Li Xingrua abruptly abandoned the family's assets, taking her sister and leaving the family, severing ties, rendering the situation distinctly stiff. Otherwise, considering their parents' contributions and Li Xingruo's talent in alchemy, how could the Li family act in such a way? Over these years, had the sisters admitted their mistake, the family wouldn't have held past issues against them and would have treated them well once more. There's no misunderstanding, we sisters no longer have ties with the Li family and want return, Li Xingrua said coldly, her face frosty. She wasn't naive. There might have been misunderstandings in the Li family's past. But this year's events had thoroughly chilled her heart. How could she believe these words? To lightly mention misunderstanding and sweep all past affairs under the rug? If it genuinely was a misunderstanding, why would the Li family wait until now to send Li Jianghu to apologize and clear things up? In truth, it was all on account of face given to Lu Chongsheng, the alchemy master, that the Li family sent someone to speak of a misunderstanding. Otherwise, they would have only continued to pressure the sisters into submission. In the end, they would either have to sell the shop and leave Jiuxiao Immortal City or bow their heads and admit wrong to the family. Fine, I'll accept the gift, but whether it's a misunderstanding or not is none of my concern. I am the alchemist of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion now, and I don't want any more trouble from you at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, Lu Chongsheng spoke up. After hearing all of this, he had a clear understanding of Li Changhe's purpose for coming. It was to see what relationship he had with the Li sisters. If there was none, perhaps a gift would have been offered in hopes he'd stay out of the family's business. If there was a good relationship, it would be a gesture of goodwill and an attempt at reconciliation. Now that he grasped the situation, Lu Chongsheng wasn't going to press the issue aggressively to seek justice for the sisters. After all, his relationship with the 2 wasn't so deep yet. He didn't have the leisure, time, or the inclination to handle such matters. As long as the Li family stopped causing trouble for the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, that was enough. By accepting the gift, he was indicating his stance that the matter should be put to rest. Yes, I have taxed Master Yes' patience, I take my leave. Seeing that Lu Chongsheng was willing to accept the gift, Li Jianghu also heaved a sigh of relief. This indicated that Lu Chongsheng wouldn't get involved with the Li family on behalf of the sisters. Although the Li family didn't fear Lu Chongsheng, they had no desire to offend a second-rank high-class alchemist over such a trivial matter. Farewell, I won't see you out. Chapter 479, Indeed no decent person, start healing. Lu Chongsheng spoke indifferently. Senior Yi, thank you. After Li Changhu left, Li Xingruo's eyes reddened, and she pursed her lips, sincerely thanking Lu Chongsheng with a serious face. Although Lu Chongsheng did not mention getting justice for them, the fact that he was willing to stand by their side made her very grateful. Senior Yi, thank you so much. Li Xingyu, standing beside her, also expressed her thanks. Despite her young age, she was not foolish. She knew the Li family had come to apologize and resolve the grudge because of Lu Changsheng's influence. Otherwise, why would they choose this particular time to come, if not earlier or later? Hee, it's nothing. The Li family probably won't come to bother you anymore. Xingrua, in the coming days, you could try inviting a second-rank alchemist to preside in the shop. That way, when I leave, there will still be an alchemist in charge here. Lu Chongsheng patted the sisters' heads with a chuckling smile, speaking warmly. He knew in his heart that the feud between the sisters and the Li family had come to a temporary close. Yes, Senior Yi. Upon hearing Lu Changsheng's talk of leaving, the sisters suddenly felt a sense of loss. The past month spent with Lu Chongsheng had been the happiest and most carefree time of their year. They had developed certain feelings for Lu Chongsheng. They very much wished that Lu Chongsheng could stay forever. But they clearly understood that in another month, after finishing his business, Lu Chongsheng would leave. This is what status and power are all about. Xingrua and her parents were originally foundation establishment cultivators of the Li family. However, after both of them passed away, the family's warmth faded, and they were treated this way by the family. Now, just because I arrived at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, an alchemist's status made the Li family willing to send someone to express goodwill, apologize, and resolve the grudge. Lu Chongsheng returned to the alchemy chamber and gently shook his head, feeling quite reflective on the matter. In the following days, besides resting, Lu Chongsheng spent most of his time refining elixir medicines and making talismans at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. One day, Ling Zixiao visited the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. Master Ling? Li Xingyu greeted Ling Zixiao respectfully upon seeing her in the shop. Jiuxiao Immortal City was neither too big nor too small. As an array master, Ling Zixiao had a certain reputation in the city. So, Li Xingyu had seen her before. Is Alchemist Yi here? Ling Zixiao greeted Li Xingyu with a shallow smile and spoke with dignified elegance. She had prepared herself over the past several days, arranging all her affairs in order to inquire about her treatment with Lu Chongsheng. After all, to her, curing the dragon roar physique was the most important matter. If it were to be delayed further, each day added more risk to her condition. Moreover, after purchasing information about Lu Chongsheng from the Heaven Knowledge Tower, she found herself a bit more curious about him. She wanted to get to know the man through personal contact. You're looking for Senior Yi? Li Xingyu found it somewhat surprising to hear this. She had not expected that Senior Yi knew this Master Ling. Yes, I have an appointment with Alchemist Yi. If he's here, please let him know. Ling Zixiao said with a smile. As she spoke, her beautiful eyes appraised Li Xingyu, who seemed young and adorable. She couldn't help but think to herself, surely Lu Chongsheng wasn't settling in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion with an eye on this young girl? She remembered that after the previous owners of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion had passed away, only their children were left to manage the shop. This man is really not any decent cultivator. Ling Zixiao spat inwardly. She was even more certain that Lu Chongsheng was not a decent cultivator. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a coincidence. He just happened to settle in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. Clearly, he had improper thoughts about the young girl. Inside the alchemy chamber, Lu Chongsheng, who was engaged in alchemy, naturally had no idea of Ling Zixiao's thoughts. Senior Yi, Master Ling from Xiao Array store said she has an appointment with you and has come to find you. Li Xingyu called out from outside the alchemy chamber. I am in the midst of refining elixirs, Xingyu, please ask her to come in. Upon hearing this, Lu Changsheng immediately responded. Alright, Senior Yi. Before long, Li Xingyu had invited Ling Zixiao in. Zixiao, you've come. Inside the alchemy chamber, Lu Changsheng turned to look at Ling Zixiao, dressed in a lake blue skirt and graceful in demeanor, and spoke warmly. Lu Lang, I have settled my affairs in the past few days, so I am available at any time now. Ling Zixiao looked at Lu Changsheng, her face breaking into a shallow smile, her voice crisp and melodious, truly captivating. I am short one batch of elixir medicines. In 3 days, once I've completed them, I will begin treating your injuries, Zixiao. Lu Changsheng spoke after a moment of contemplation. Alright, in that case, I won't disturb Lu Lang with his alchemy, I will go and make preparations. Ling Zixiao nodded, agreeing. Since Zixiao is already here, why hurry away? Lu Changsheng looked at the beautiful woman before him, elegant and dignified, and chuckled softly. He stepped forward and gently encircled the beautiful woman's waist. Lu Lang, I am a little unaccustomed to this demeanor of yours. Ling Zixiao softly nestled in Lu Changsheng's arms, her voice melodious and tender. He. Lu Changsheng chuckled upon hearing this. He thought that Ling Zixiao's prompt agreement to his offer of partnership was likely influenced by his appearance. This was normal. Cultivators were still human. They could not be completely detached from worldly matters. Just like him, his preferences had not changed over the many years. He still liked young and beautiful women. If appearances did not matter in the cultivation world, elixir medicines like the beautifying elixir, youth-preserving elixir, and others would have long lost their market. The old man Tian Ku had not needed to put the effort into creating the immortal beauty technique. Lu Changsheng's mental spirit stirred slightly and the disguise from the misty sky bead in his dantian momentarily dissolved, revealing his true appearance. Then he lovingly gazed at Ling Zixiao with gentle eyes, reaching out to pinch the lovely chin of the beautiful lady. Chapter 480, Indeed No Decent Person, Start Healing. Lu Lang. Ling Zixiao's beautiful eyes shimmered with light. She pursed her luminous, glistening red lips, stood on tiptoe of her own accord, wrapped her arms around Lu Changsheng's neck, and offered her warm, soft lips. Lu Changsheng felt a tender fragrance overwhelm his mouth. Ling Zixiao was highly perceptive. With the experience of the previous 2 times, she was now able to actively grasp the rhythm. However, when her bosom was held, her delicate nose couldn't help but whimper, and her breathing became a bit hurried, causing her full and shapely thighs beneath her skirt to weaken slightly. But she tried to calm her emotions, gradually getting used to the sensation. As time passed, however, Ling Zixiao still fell into defeat. Her clothes were disheveled, her eyes brimmed with bashful allure, her delicate body like putty, nearly hanging on Lu Changsheng, her breaths deep with the scent of faint orchids. It seems it won't be long before Zixiao can fully adapt, Lu Changsheng said, cradling the beauty in his arms, feeling the creamy smoothness in his hands. It had to be said, Ling Zixiao's aptitude was indeed astounding. If nurtured properly, she would certainly display incredible talent in this regard. However, he felt that his actions had somewhat trapped him. Ever since arriving at Jianghu Immortal City, he had been cultivating his moral character. Now faced with Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique, his Bodis yang energy rose and spread, causing a slight heat in his lower abdomen. Humph. Hearing this, Ling Zixiao glanced at Lu Changsheng with a roll of her lovely eyes, snorting lightly through her nose. She had thought that after reading some books on dual cultivation and preparing herself mentally these past few days, she would surely not be as vulnerable as before. Yet under Lu Changsheng's skill, she still found herself weak and defeated. She affirmed once more that Lu Changsheng was no ordinary cultivator. After all, the dual cultivation technique talked about yin and yang working together, comprehending the great Tao. Where did all these tricks come from? She, a foundation establishment cultivator, felt just like an ordinary woman. Lu Chongqing chuckled lightly, doting on Ling Zixiao, making conversation, getting to know each other. Only when the elixir medicines in the pill furnace were nearly ready did he and Ling Zixiao separate. Upon seeing this, Ling Zixiao tidied her disordered clothes and hair, then left the alchemy chamber. When she arrived in the hall, she saw Li Xingrua chatting with Li Xingyu. Ling Master. Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu immediately looked towards Ling Zixiao and greeted her. Miss Li. Ling Zixiao returned the greeting with a faint smile, her demeanor composed and graceful. She sized up Li Xingrua in front of her. Skin white as jade, features clear and elegant, bright eyes and a high forehead, like the fresh luminescence of a new moon. Between her brows, there was an air of pure, steely valor. Such looks were of top-class beauty. She had a charm that Li Xingyu, who was yet to mature, lacked. Seeing Li Xingrua before her, Ling Zixiao once again firmed up her speculation. Lu Chongqing had come to Treasure Elixir Pavilion with designs on the two sisters. But she didn't say much. After a brief chat with the two sisters, she took her leave. 10 days later. The night was misty. Within a cave dwelling on Jiuxia Mountain, Zixiao, "I'm about to start," Lu Chongqing said, embracing the sweaty and plush Ling Zixiao, their eyes locked on each other. 7 days ago, after refining the elixir medicines, he and Ling Zixiao had come to the cave-dwelling area of Jiuxia Mountain and rented a dwelling. After all, healing required a quiet place, free from interruptions. Moreover, the cave-dwelling was not only quiet, but also rich in spiritual energy, which was helpful for the movement of mana. Now, after 7 days of preparation, Lu Chongqing was about to deploy the dragon invocation technique to address Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique. Lu Lang. Ling Zixiao's face was flushed with apprehension. Theoretically, the 3 secret techniques could solve her dragon roar physique. But it was only in theory. If it turned out to be ineffective, all her days spent. However, she didn't dwell too much on the what-ifs. As the saying goes, the pathway to a woman's heart is. Having fused spiritually and physically over the past few days, she found that besides not seeming like a serious cultivator, Lu Chongqing was comfortable and pleasant to be with. Dragon Invocation Technique. Lu Chongqing didn't say much more and activated the technique. A fierce and domineering flood dragon roared out aggressively, entered Ling Zixiao's body, and began its plundering. Boom! The dragon roar of the yang energy in Ling Zixiao, feeling provoked at that moment, flared violently, erupting throughout her body, filling her limbs and bones, making her grimace in pain. Not good. Lu Chongqing instantly realized that by using the dragon invocation technique to harvest the dragon roar's yang energy, he had disrupted the balance of yin and yang that Ling Zixiao had barely maintained with precious resources. He immediately lifted his hand, causing the second-rank talismans and elixir medicines, which he had already prepared beside the bed, to fly into his palms. He used the elixir medicines and activated the talismans on her to suppress the dragon roar's yang energy. Seize! Lu Chongqing did not go straight for harvesting the spiritual Bodhis origin source. Having just started, he had to stabilize the balance of yin and yang in her body as much as possible before attempting to seize the origin source. Roar! The flood dragon roared and began to consume and plunder the dragon roar's yang energy. Confronted with the outburst and plunder of the yang energy within her, Ling Zixiao tightly closed her eyes and let out a high-pitched moan. Her tensed body trembled uncontrollably, incapable of self-action, her consciousness barely clear. She could only place all her hopes on Lu Chongqing. So this is the dragon roar of yang energy? Lu Chongqing, via the dragon invocation technique, could feel threads of the dragon roar's yang energy entering his body. The yang energy snatched away was very thin. But Lu Chongqing could sense that this yang energy was beneficial to him. Chapter 481, Indeed No Decent Person, Start Healing. _4 It could nourish the flesh and blood of the body, even accelerating the flow of spiritual energy within the meridians. The dragon roar physique truly is one of the top-level spiritual bodies, Lu Chongsheng murmured to himself. To use the dragon invocation technique to harvest energy from Ling Xixiu's dragon roar physique, he couldn't help but have some expectations for the origin characteristics of this physique. After all, the dragon roar physique was one of the top-level spiritual bodies. It was a tier above his own Gengjin body constitution and blood talisman spiritual body. Although the dragon invocation technique could not completely harvest and plunder the dragon roar physique, it could still harvest some of its characteristics, which would be greatly beneficial to him. The dragon roar of yang energy is equal to providing me with an endless nourishment for my body. Lu Chengsheng's 100 refinements treasure body art circulated within him, refining the dragon roar of yang energy. With mana, he operated the dragon invocation technique to harvest the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Xixiu's body. Bring the elixir. After a moment of harvesting, Lu Chongsheng saw that the second-rank spirit pill that Ling Xixiu had just consumed was already expended. He thought to himself how domineering this dragon roar physique was. He immediately administered another life-saving elixir to Ling Xixiu. The dragon roar of yang energy, the power of the elixir medicines, the force of the talisman, and the plundering of the dragon invocation technique led to her mind going blank with dizziness. Her beautiful eyes fluttered, her vision blurred with mist, her luscious red lips gasped for air, occasionally letting out sounds like soft complaints or cries. Boom boom boom, under Lu Chengsheng's harvesting, the blood within Ling Xixiu's body also began to surge faster, more and more rapidly, like a raging river. As the saying goes, pulling one hair could affect the whole body. The dragon roar of yang energy of the dragon roar physique resided in the human bodice meridians and blood. As Lu Chongsheng plundered the dragon roar of yang energy through the dragon invocation technique, it naturally caused Ling Xixiu's blood to also be pulled, rushing frenetically. It is indeed difficult to plunder a spiritual body without harming the woman herself. Seeing this scene, Lu Chengsheng's face showed a hint of seriousness. He had previously guessed that resolving the dragon roar physique using the dragon invocation technique would not be so simple. But he had not anticipated encountering so much trouble from the start. Not only did it disrupt the balance of yin and yang within Ling Xixiu's body, causing the dragon roar of yang energy to erupt, but now her blood surged so strongly that her sweaty body flushed with a blood-red hue. If this continued, both the meridians and blood vessels were likely to be damaged. I can only take it one step at a time. Lu Chongsheng let out a deep breath. He took out several talismans and used them on Ling Xixiu to suppress her surging blood. At the same time, he held her pale wrist with one hand, channeling mana into her body to protect her meridians as much as possible. Compared to her blood surging, her meridians and dantian were the biggest concern. Under the backlash of the dragon roar physique and the burning of the dragon roar of yang energy, her meridians and dantian had become extremely fragile. A single misstep could cause problems. For a cultivator, the meridians and dantian are of utmost importance and cannot sustain any damage. Seeing that several forces were barely stabilizing Ling Xixiu's condition, Lu Chongsheng immediately accelerated the operation of the dragon invocation technique. He allowed the ferocious flood dragon to bellow and roar, wildly swallowing and plundering the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Xixiu's body, eliciting from her sounds of pain and pleasure. Time ticked away slowly. It was hard to tell how much time had passed. The dragon roar of yang energy has been barely stabilized. Lu Chongsheng saw that the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Xixiu's body gradually calmed down and he breathed a sigh of relief. If it weren't for the profound origin bead providing him with an endless supply of mana, despite the supply of elixir medicines, he wouldn't have been able to stabilize Ling Xixiu's condition while simultaneously harvesting the dragon roar of yang energy with the dragon invocation technique. By this point, Ling Xixiu, throughout this process, had nearly passed out and melted into a puddle of water. Nirvana Art. Lu Chongsheng took out a second-rank healing talisman and used it on Ling Zixiao, stopped the dragon invocation technique, and applied the nirvana art to her. On one hand, it was to nourish her fragile body and meridians. On the other hand, he also wanted to see how effective the nirvana art was in treating Ling Zixiao. After all, the resolution of the dragon roar physique had just begun. The real challenge was still the harvesting of the essence of the dragon roar physique. Once the essence was harvested, it would not only damage Ling Zixiao's foundation, but it was also uncertain what would happen during the process. This stream of origin essence made her tightly closed eyes, her body burning hot, nearly unconscious with no awareness, reminiscent of drinking a refreshing gulp of water on a scorching summer day. A comfortable long chant escaped her throat. Lu Lang, Ling Zixiao's beautiful eyes opened slightly, her gaze helpless and hazy. The recent ordeal had felt like death itself. It was like the time she broke through to Foundation establishment, when the dragon roar physique erupted, and she almost lost her life. However, this time, she could clearly feel that the dragon roar of yang energy within her had indeed slowed down significantly, proving that Lu Changsheng's approach had a certain effect. Zi Shao, you should rest well for now, and well proceed with the next step once your body recovers. Lu Changsheng exhaled deeply and spoke. Though the dragon roar of yang energy harvested through the dragon invocation technique had a significant nourishing effect on him, and somewhat improved his 100 refinements treasure body technique, this method of treatment expended a great deal of his mana, energy, and mental effort. After all, such a treatment method really tested a person's mental spirit. During the process, maintaining focus and multitasking without any errors was incredibly challenging. If it weren't for Lu Changsheng's extensive experience and the trials he had undergone, an ordinary person could not have managed to do it. Ling Zixiao softly acknowledged and closed her eyes, exhaustedly falling asleep. Lu Changsheng also lay down gently, holding Ling Zixiao, and slowly drifted off to sleep. Chapter 482, Yin-Yang Energies Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. _1 Qingzhou Mountain, Lu Family. This day, Lu Yuanzhong, who had been away, returned. But the news of the Lu family ancestors' return did not fill the family with joy and welcome. Instead, it cast the entire Lu family in white mourning clothes, full of sorrow and grief. 4 months ago, on the orders of the Qingyun sect, Lu Yuanzhong took 9 elders, core members, and elite disciples of his family to participate in the campaign against the Xiahou clan. Now, however, only Lu Yuanzhong and 3 Lu family disciples returned. Furthermore, the family ancestor, Lu Yuanzhong, arrived looking frail and disordered, his face weary and pale. Ancestor. Grandfather, father. Husband. Fanger. Some in the Lu family wept softly, while others wailed in anguish, a picture of profound mourning. Many people, upon seeing Lu Yuanzhong's pale and feeble state, felt a sense of foreboding. The family had lost so many high-ranking members in a single blow, and the Lu family's vitality was greatly damaged. If something were to happen to Lu Yuanzhong, the backbone of the family, then the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain would be finished. Big brother, how could this have happened? Ancestor, why did this battle turn out this way? Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaochang asked with faces full of grief. In the campaign against the Xiahou clan, not only did the Qingyun sect summon several family powers, but also had a nascent soul immortal at the helm. In their view, the battle should have been a crushing victory, if not a total rout. How could it have been so tragic? Alas! Hearing their questions, Lu Yuanzhong let out a heavy sigh. This battle initially went very smoothly. Under the leadership of the Qingyun sect, our family forces easily eradicated the power of the Xiahou house and advanced towards Blackwater Pool. But as we converged at the Blackwater Pool, the clan's earth-shaking formation was unexpectedly upgraded from 2nd rank to 3rd rank. After the earth-shaking formation deployed by the Qingyun sect broke the Xiahu's clan defense, an unexpected event occurred. Lu Yuanzhong spoke slowly, his mind revisiting that battle. That day, After the Xiahou clan's formation at Blackwater Pool had been broken, the army of cultivators stormed into the pool. Then appeared the false core patriarch of the Xiahou, who was not the well-known Xiahou Wuwa. Instead, it was Xiahou Jia, an ancestor of the Xiahou family who was thought to have died long ago. With a long howl from the Xiahou ancestor, 1,000 coffins soared into the sky from Blackwater Pool. Countless zombies burst from the coffins, their malevolent aura pervading the air, their might terrifying. Then the battle commenced. Though most of these zombified Dao soldiers were of average strength, they fought fearlessly and to the death. What was even more shocking was that Xiahou Jia, using these corps of undead soldiers, was able to hold his ground against the Qingyun sect's Kaiyun True Immortal. And thus, what should have been an overwhelming victory became a tense struggle. In the end, it was only with the deployment of the Tian Luo Fumo formation supporting Kaiyun True Immortal that Xiahou Jia was barely subdued and the battle concluded. As a result, the battle was exceedingly brutal. All of the great families involved suffered casualties. Some family powers had all their members perish at Blackwater Pool. For instance, the Bai family of Hundred Birds Lake, who were close to the Lu family, lost their patriarch in this battle. Therefore, his grievous injury was considered lucky. Xiahou family ancestor, Xiahou Jia, necrotic Dao soldiers, hearing Lu Yuanzhong's account, Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaochang felt shocked. They had not expected the Xiahou family to have such deep and dark secrets. The battle was devastatingly brutal. The Bai family patriarch actually died in this conflict. Although the Xiahou family of Blackwater Pool has been wiped out, I've heard that some of the Xiahou elites have escaped. And Xiahou Wuwa, the false core patriarch of the Xiahou family, did not appear throughout the battle, which likely means he fled secretly. Some speculate that they might turn to demon cultivation, causing havoc throughout the Qingyun region, or even seek revenge against our families. Miaochang, make sure to caution all family descendants who are outside, to be extra careful and vigilant against any demon cultivators' disturbances. Lu Yuanzhong said with a pale face. And as he spoke, he couldn't help but cough violently a couple of times. He fought valiantly with the Lu family disciples at Blackwater Pool, where he encountered a flying zombie in the Foundation establishment stage, and was poisoned, damaging his internal organs. If it weren't for his Foundation establishment cultivation, the zombie's poison would have claimed his life. Big brother, how are you feeling? Lu Yuanding immediately expressed concern. I'm afraid I don't have many years left. Lu Yuanzhong shook his head, not hiding the truth. My injury is severe, but if I refrain from fighting, I can hold on for another 10 years. We've earned considerable merit in this battle. Yuanding, calculate how many spirit stones the family can mobilize. Then we'll go to the Qingyun sect and exchange them for a Foundation establishment elixir and a few Foundation establishment spirit objects, Lu Yuanzhong said in a deep voice. Now, the Lu family's urgent priority was to have new Foundation establishment cultivators born. Only with the emergence of a new Foundation establishment great cultivator to preside over Qingzhou Mountain could they weather the coming crisis. Ancestor, hearing this, both people's expression turned somber. Being able to hold on for another 10 years as long as he avoided fighting meant that Lu Yuanzhong's condition was very serious. If he were to engage in combat, he might not survive even a year or two. Yuanding, Miaochang, don't bother collecting any spiritual medicines for me. During this time, focus all your effort on gathering and purchasing Foundation establishment spirit objects. Our Lu family must have a new Foundation establishment cultivator. Lu Yuanzhong said to the two before him. He was acutely aware of his own condition. Even with elixir medicines and spiritual medicines, it would only be prolonging life for a few more years. This was never a long-term solution. Instead of wasting resources for his own life, it was better to use them all to nurture a new Foundation establishment cultivator. Jiuxiao Immortal City. Inside a cave dwelling. Zixao. Lu Changsheng softly called out to Ling Zixiao to signal that he was ready to begin. Chapter 483, Yin Yang Energies Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. After all this time of recuperation, moistening, and dual cultivation, Ling Zixiao had temporarily stabilized the dragon roar of yang energy within his body. Therefore, he was now about to begin using the dragon invocation technique to start replenishing the origin source of Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique. This was a crucial step. It would also determine whether he could resolve Ling Zixiao's physical condition. Lu Lang. Upon hearing these words, Ling Zixiao's delicate and beautiful jade feet, wrapped in snow-white socks, entwined Lu Changsheng. Through their time spent together, she had seen that Lu Changsheng was truly dedicated, doing his utmost to heal her. This made her also open her body and mind completely in this respect, without any restraint. Dragon Invocation Technique. Lu Changsheng concentrated his mental spirit and activated the cultivation technique. Roar. In an instant, the flood dragon roared as it charged into the secluded pool. Suddenly, a crisp sound of water rippled through the pool, with splashes scattering about. After entering the pool, the flood dragon continued to roam deeper, as if searching for something. After a long while, the flood dragon found its target for this journey. In the depths of the secluded pool, there was a dragon ball. This dragon ball contained vast and domineering power that could transform a person into a dragon. Yet, its presence in the pool caused the master of the pool to wither and dry up continuously. The arrival of the flood dragon was to solve the issue of the dragon ball for the pool's master, to plunder and devour the dragon pearl essence. The flood dragon was not a creature confined to the pool. Once it met wind and rain, it would transform into a dragon. If it could capture the dragon pearl essence, it would greatly benefit the flood dragon's master. Roar. The flood dragon roared at the dragon ball. Due to the overly domineering true dragon force within the dragon ball, the flood dragon did not dare to swallow it directly at the moment. So, it merely attempted a tentative assimilation of the origin source of power from the dragon ball. Within this dragon ball, a dragon soul lay dormant. The moment the flood dragon began to assimilate the dragon pearl essence, the sleeping dragon soul immediately awakened, roaring towards the heavens and unleashing a terrifying might. In an instant, the entire secluded pool boiled, the water within churning tumultuously, with the center forming a vortex filled with suction power. At this moment, the owner of the pool also let out a muffled groan of pain. Her crimson body was scorching hot to the touch, and the soles of her feet, wrapped in snow-white socks, were flexed tightly, clearly indicating great pain with the awakening of the dragon soul. As expected. Seeing this, Lu Changsheng inwardly exclaimed with the confirmation of his suspicions. He immediately administered an elixir medicine to Ling Zixiao to suppress the upheaval caused by the awakening of the dragon soul. When he previously plundered the dragon roar of yang energy, he had speculated that if he were to plunder the origin source of the dragon roar physique, it would likely trigger an outburst of the dragon roar physique. Now it seemed his suspicions were indeed correct. However, he was well prepared. With a raise of his hand, 2 supreme talismans flew towards Ling Zixiao and were activated for her use. These were second-rank supreme talismans, one capable of nurturing the flesh, the other imbued with the profound ice-cold force. Hiss. As the ice power of the talisman spread, the boiling pool water suddenly cooled down. And the flood dragon in the deep pool, at this moment, was caught between cold and heat, causing Lu Changsheng, its master, to inhale sharply with a gasp. Seize. With a solemn expression, he grasped Ling Zixiao's wrists with both hands, channeled his mana, and protected her meridians and dantian. At the same time, he executed the dragon invocation technique, allowing the flood dragon to continue absorbing the dragon pearl essence. Roar, 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 the flood dragon bellowed, fierce and domineering, causing a strand of golden origin source to emerge from within the dragon ball. No sooner had the golden origin source appeared from the dragon ball, than the dragon soul within it roared to the sky, making the entire dragon ball begin to surge, causing the deep pool to completely boil over. Ah! At this moment, Zi Xiao's head suddenly reared up, her teeth clenched in pain, her body shaking violently. A head of jet-black hair drenched in sweat, wantonly disheveled, allowing a few strands to be caught between her red lips, her sobs and cries stifled. But as the master of the deep pool, she still did her utmost to help the flood dragon suppress the dragon soul within the dragon ball. Roar! The flood dragon roared again, swallowing the dragon pearl essence in front of it, attempting to seize it. This made the dragon soul incredibly angry, almost bursting out of the dragon ball. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, in an instant, boundless dragon roar of yang energy spread from the dragon ball, causing the deep pool to seethe and burn, the water nearly evaporating. Ah! Under the power of the dragon soul, Zi Xiao's whole body trembled as if electrocuted, enduring agony. At this moment, not only her body trembled. Her soul was also shaking continuously. Zi Xiao's eyes were tightly shut, her eyebrows deeply furrowed, her arches taut, and her two delicate white hands gripping the flood dragon's master tightly, as painful, stifled moans escaped from between her lips and teeth. No, I can't hesitate, I must act quickly. Through the force coming from his back, Lu Chongsheng could feel Zi Xiao's pain, his face showing an expression of grave concern. Under the outburst of the dragon roar physique, her entire body was boiling, unbearably hot, as if she was about to be consumed by fire. Infinite dragon roar of yang energy erupted from within the depths of her body, burning her flesh, meridians, and dantian. Therefore, he had to quickly seize this strand of dragon roar origin. Then deal with this problem afterwards. Otherwise, not only would this supplementation fail, but it would also cause Zi Xiao great harm to her vital energy. Healing her afterwards would be even more troublesome. After all, with the dragon roar of yang energy burning her like this, Zi Xiao did not have much life left. Roar! The flood dragon roared once more, swallowed the dragon pearl essence, then quickly left the deep pool. Pft! A crisp, muffled sound emerged from within Zi Xiao's body, causing her to faint, with a trace of bright blood flowing from the corner of her mouth. Not good. Lu Changsheng's mana continued to flow within Zi Xiao's body. Chapter 484, Yin-Yang Energies Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. He knew that under the relentless assault of the replenished origin energy and the dragon roar of yang energy, the opponent's heart meridians had been damaged, showing slight ruptures. At this rate, not just the heart meridians, but all the energy channels throughout the body and the dantian would be compromised. At this very moment, he could no longer afford to be cautious. He directly used several elixir medicines and spirit talismans on Ling Zixiao. In times of critical illness, one must resort to drastic measures. With the power of the elixir medicines and talismans, he enabled Ling Zixiao to cling onto a thread of vitality. So long as there was a thread of vitality, he could use the yin-yang nirvana art, and the life transference technique to bring the patient back from the brink and slowly recover. Time was of the essence in this moment. The elixir medicines and talismans made the unconscious Ling Zixiao moan softly, like a pool of soft water. Roar! At this time, the flood dragon returned with a strand of origin energy seized from the dragon ball. Upon entering Lu Changsheng's body, this strand of dragon roar origin immediately turned into a surge of force, scouring every inch of his flesh and skin. 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. Feeling the dragon roar origin rampaging in his body, Lu Chongsheng immediately activated the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. Boom boom boom, the sound of raging, river-like blood surged within Lu Changsheng's body. As a foundation establishment cultivator, and having cultivated the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art to the 4th level, merely a strand of dragon roar origin was not enough to impact him greatly. However, as this strand of dragon roar origin reached the Qi Ocean core, buzz, the yin-yang energies orbiting around the yin-yang 5 elements foundation base within Lu Changsheng's Qi Ocean core seemed to resonate. They immediately transformed into a tiny yin-yang fish, swimming towards the dragon roar origin. What's going on here? Lu Chongsheng looked baffled. He did not understand what was happening with the yin-yang energies of his foundation base. After all, he had never encountered such a situation before. But then, the yin-yang fish formed by the yin-yang energies swallowed the strand of dragon roar origin in one gulp. Boom boom boom, in an instant, Lu Chongqing felt the dragon roar origin being refined by the yin-yang energies, which slowly increased the yang energy within his yin-yang energies. So that's how it is. Lu Chongqing realized what was happening in his heart. His yin-yang energies could be enhanced through rare yin-yang origin sources. Furthermore, his own yin-yang energies were not perfectly balanced at the moment, with the yang energy being weaker than the yin energy. It was not for any other reason, but simply because the great sun essence of the Golden Crow elixir he initially consumed was far less profound than Xiao Xia's supreme yin moonlight. The reason he was able to maintain balance was entirely due to the spirit-nurturing energy he had obtained from the Golden Core Lady. Now, the strand of dragon roar origin was more compatible with the supreme yin moonlight than the great sun essence. Thus, his yin-yang energies instinctively yearned to consume this strand of dragon roar origin. Meanwhile, as the yin-yang energies digested the dragon roar origin, Lu Changsheng's 100 refinements treasure body art, at the peak of the 4th level, vibrated intensely and broke through to the 5th level. Boom boom boom, in an instant, Lu Changsheng's blood and qi raged like overflowing rivers and erupting volcanoes, forming a dazzling pillar of rainbow light that soared into the sky and filled the entire cave. His whole body shone brilliantly, illuminated and flashing, with vigorous blood qi and revolving treasure light. It seems that the dragon roar origin is even more beneficial to the male physique. Lu Chongqing felt elated in his heart. He hadn't anticipated that the stimulation from the dragon roar origin would allow his 100 refinements treasure body art to break through directly. According to his estimates, even with the assistance of the 9 treasure jade rui, a heavenly spiritual treasure for cultivation, it would still have taken him 3 to 4 months to achieve a breakthrough. Now that the 100 refinements treasure body art has broken through to the 5th level, I can also begin melting the 9 treasure jade rui within my breastbone to forge it into my life-bound treasured bone. Lu Chongqing was thrilled. He had long anticipated this day. But he did not dwell on it. He immediately turned his attention to the currently endangered Ling Zixiao. As he drew essence from the dragon roar physique, causing it to erupt, Ling Zixiao was now on the verge of death, hanging on solely due to the elixir medicines and talismans he had just used to barely maintain her life force. Yin-yang Nirvana Art. Lu Chongqing did not hesitate, taking a healing elixir for himself. He grasped the woman's plump waist and executed the Yin-yang Nirvana Art, transferring vital essence into Ling Zixiao's body. At the same time, he activated the life transference technique. The patient's condition was extremely dire. Ravaged by the impact of the dragon roar physique, her body was a mess of chaos and fractures, and her energy channels were all moderately damaged. Simply relying on the yin-yang nirvana art was not enough to stabilize the life force and repair the injuries. If such a price is to be paid for seizing a strand of origin energy, I fear it's going to cost me a significant portion of my lifespan. Lu Chongqing held the delicate and sweaty waist, murmuring to himself. He had thought Ling Zixiao's situation would not be too troublesome. Even though he had to stabilize Ling Zixiao's life force using the yin-yang nirvana art and the life transference technique, he assumed it would only take 2 or 3 times at most. But from the current situation, it wasn't nearly that simple. Because every act of seizing dragon roar origin presented Ling Zixiao with a life-threatening condition. If I were to refine the 9 treasure jade rui into my life-bound treasured bone and obtain the 9 innate divine abilities, I wonder how effective the healing divine light is. Lu Chongqing pondered silently, thinking of the 9 treasure jade rui embedded in his breastbone. This rui contained 9 treasures, each with its own divine ability. The 5th treasure was the healing divine light, which could heal someone's physical body and even their primordial spirit injuries. It might have therapeutic effects on Ling Zixiao's energy channels and Dantian as well. If he could restore a fraction of her energy channels and Dantian, subsequent treatments would become much easier. As Lu Changsheng's transferred essence entered her body, Ling Zixiao, currently unconscious and trapped in a dark abyss enduring endless torture, felt as if refreshing springs were flowing into her. It brought a strange sweetness to her enveloping darkness and her nearly broken spirit and body. Chapter 485, Yin-Yang Energies Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. _4 Following that, a wisp of warmth emerged, pulling her out of the dark abyss. Through such prolonged companionship and dual cultivation day and night, she knew exactly where this wisp of warmth originated. A feeling of indescribable peace and safety instantly filled her heart. Zixiao, hold on. Lu Changsheng noticed that Ling Zixiao had regained some consciousness and spoke in a deep voice. As he finished speaking, his hands then grasped the supple and slick thighs of the beauty, and her jade feet wrapped in snowy white stockings. He poured life into her forcefully and steadily, stabilizing the situation within her body. Ling Zixiao tried to speak. But her consciousness was blurred, and her body felt numb and powerless, leaving her unable to open her mouth. She could only let out a gentle nasal hum, soft and coquettish. Just as Lu Changsheng was healing Ling Zixiao with the techniques of Yin-Yang Nirvana and Life Transference Technique. But suddenly, above Jiuxiao Immortal City, the five-colored aurora that enveloped the city was intensifying rapidly. Colorful runes, like fish, were spreading throughout the aurora, emitting strong mana fluctuations. What's happening? This is the 5-extreme celestial formation of the celestial city. Why would the formation suddenly become fully operational? Inside the city, many cultivators who witnessed this scene immediately cried out in alarm. Whether it was the marketplace or the celestial city, the formations are normally operated at the lowest possible consumption level. They were only fully activated in the face of significant events. Otherwise, even a third-rank spirit vein would struggle to sustain the operation of a third-rank great formation indefinitely. After all, the amount of spiritual energy consumed by the cultivators in the city each day is no small figure. The sudden full-scale operation of the formation, closing off the celestial city, looks problematic no matter how one sees it. Especially for those robber cultivators, heretic cultivators, and demon cultivators who were hiding their identities in the city. At this moment, they were somewhat panicked. Everyone, do not be afraid. Today the celestial city has activated the formation solely to suppress the demon cultivators. Do not wander around or move about recklessly. An icy, domineering, and majestic voice rose, spreading throughout the entire Jiuxiao Immortal City. As soon as the words fell, many heavenly sword sect cultivators suddenly appeared, surrounding courtyards, cavern dwellings, and buildings. Boom boom boom. In a short while, explosions from spells and collisions of magic artifacts were heard within a building. Some courtyards and buildings, amidst the fighting, collapsed directly into ruins. Whoosh, a streak of rainbow light flew out. Although Jiuxiao Immortal City had a ban on flying, this restriction was not strong enough to prevent nascent soul immortals from flying. It only made flight more difficult and more exhausting. However, at that very instant, a sword light with a sharp edge slashed out. This sword seemed as if it came from beyond the ninth heaven, almost instantly emerging like a skyward explosion. It forced the nascent soul immortal to hastily operate his magical treasure. Due to the hurried response, he spat out blood under the sword light. Boom boom boom, various sounds started echoing within the celestial city. 7 or 8 streaks of rainbow light appeared. These were either false core immortals or nascent soul immortals. Not good. The heavenly sword sect has discovered us. When did this happen? These streaks of light were all nascent soul immortals. Facing such a fierce onslaught, their complexions were incredibly grim at this moment. They had not expected that their prolonged concealment within Jiuxiao Immortal City would be detected by the heavenly sword sect. You demonic brats! Did you really think that we at the Heavenly Sword sect were oblivious to your actions all this time? A cold and domineering voice rang out. There appeared a middle-aged man dressed in a black magical robe. He stood tall and straight, the whole of him like a divine sword with its edge fully revealed, giving off a bone-chilling sharpness upon sight. Heavenly exterminating sword, Yun Jianfeng. Now, as Xianjian true monarch is locked in battle with the two great true monarchs of Jin Kingdom, how could you be here? Someone recognizing the middle-aged man felt a chill in their heart and spoke in a deep voice. Heavenly exterminating sword, Yun Jianfeng. Core formation late stage. Moreover, he had congealed a superior gold core, ranked as the foremost among heavenly sword sect members under the nascent soul true lord Li Duanshuan, his strength immensely astonishing. Since our sect's supreme elder dares to accept the challenge, naturally there's no fear, and there's no need for my presence. It's better here, to cut down all you jumping clowns and teach the forces behind you a lesson. Yun Jianfeng's voice was as cold and domineering as the tip of a sword, piercing into the hearts of others. As the voice died away, buzz, above the immortal city, the 5 extreme celestial formations circulated with 5-colored radiance, a vast, ocean-like mana surged. Immediately afterward, an enormous tide of sword light appeared, like the Milky Way pouring down from the 9 heavens, killing its way towards those nascent soul immortals. Run! Hurry and run! Everyone, join forces to break the formation. Seeing this spectacle, all the nascent soul immortals turned pale, shouting out, wanting to flee the Jiuxiao immortal city. Within the city, not only was there the bane that was Yun Jianfeng, but also nascent soul immortals overseeing the celestial city formation, along with other false core immortals. In such a predicament, should they continue fighting, defeat was certain. Besides, these people were not united in purpose, each harboring their own agendas. Shao Chan, go! In the crowd, Nangong Meili saw this scene and didn't dare to hesitate, forming hand seals, and a purple jade spider with numerous pairs of eyes appeared. Her enchanting figure landed on the purple jade spider's back, and with a grab toward Meng Xiaochan, she flew towards the gate of the immortal city. Humph, thinking of leaving. The man in the black robe, Yun Jianfeng, looked at the nascent soul immortals before him, his expression cold and domineering. A black magical sword appeared in his hands, slashing fiercely forward. In an instant, a tyrannical sword light cleaved out, tearing open the void, forcing a nascent soul immortal to parry defensively. And in that instant, boom! The great formation above the immortal city surged with another vicious tide of sword light, weaving into a sword chi net, gathering layer by layer, attempting to suppress the nascent soul immortal. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, several heavenly sword sect false core immortals and foundation establishment cultivators arrived, aiming to capture the nascent soul immortal locked within the sword net. Boom! Yun Jianfeng stood tall and straight, his figure upright like a sword, standing firm in the void, his gaze electric. Seeing Nangong Meili standing on the purple jade spider ahead, he fiercely slashed with the sword in his hand. Immediately, a black sword chi dazzled forth, filled with an annihilating aura, as if cleaving through the dawn of creation. Hiss hiss hiss, on seeing this, Nangong Meili produced a purple flute, and endless purple streams surged, seeking to block this annihilating sword chi. And the purple jade spider spat out strands of purple, crystal clear silk, weaving into a large net. But the next moment, boom! The great formation above the immortal city circulated with 5-colored aura, its might surging, a dense mass of sword light turned into a net of sword chi, killing its way toward Nangong Meili. It was clear that the array master upholding the immortal city formation was coordinating with Yun Jianfeng. Whoever Yun Jianfeng sought to kill, he would swiftly act to suppress, an offensive so overwhelming it left one virtually unable to defend. Meili. At this time, not far off, a tall, majestic-looking middle-aged man exuding an aura of menace saw the scene and immediately showed worry, shouting loudly. He immediately gave up fleeing, with a dark red greatsword magic artifact appearing in his hands, he actively slashed toward the sword chi net in the sky to break it open for Nangong Meili. Chapter 486, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. _1 Xiang Xiangshan's face was ferocious, with black hair wildly flying above his head. In his hand, a blood-red greatsword swung, and a sea of blood emerged. The boundless sea of blood surged with a terrifying might, attacking the net of sword chi in the sky that shimmered with five-colored radiance. Boom! The collision between the sea of blood and the sword net instantly caused a loud explosion and dreadful waves of mana. Whoosh, 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 the waves of this impact swept in all directions, nearly shattering the house buildings and white jade stone slabs surrounding the Immortal City. Even in the Immortal City, where buildings and floors were made from special materials, they couldn't possibly withstand the aftermath of a battle between nascent soul immortals. Suppress. In just an instant, a majestic and profound voice rose. Winds whipped up from all directions, and an invisible barrier formed, suppressing and calming the terrible afterwaves. Heavenly Sword Sect dared to make a move within Jianghu Immortal City, naturally considering various aspects and not allowing the battle aftermath to spread wantonly. Otherwise, such a battle at the nascent soul level would reduce even the Immortal City to ruins. Moreover, there were countless cultivators inside the Immortal City. If they allowed nascent soul immortals to fight unrestrained, just the aftershocks alone could kill who knows how many energy-refining cultivators. Let's go. Nangong Meili, upon seeing this scene, didn't hesitate in the slightest. Taking Meng Xiaochan with her, she commanded the purple jade spider underneath to continue their assault toward the Immortal City's main gate. Ha! Yun Jianfeng witnessed the scene and let out a sneer. He didn't care about the fleeing Nangong Meili. His magical sword in hand, he slashed forward, emitting a black sword chi. An endless aura of eradication surged forth, aiming to kill the still struggling Xiang Xiangshan against the great net of sword chi. If the opponent was seeking death on their own, he had no qualms about obliging them. As for Nangong Meili and the others, with the Celestial City formation activated and fully sealed, these people were like turtles in a jar, he merely needed to defeat them one by one. Should he demonstrate excessive power, causing these people to fall into despair, they might band together, or even wreak havoc in the Immortal City. This was something he did not wish to see. Ha! Xiang Xiangshan, seeing the annihilating sword chi coming at him, his face darkened. True elixir mana surged through his body, and a fearsome and powerful black armor materialized around him, his body emanating waves of ominous energy. He took a deep breath, drawing in the air and spiritual energy from all around into his abdomen. With a rumbling sound, his abdomen pulsed, and out of his nostrils spread two dragon-like breaths. Roar! Immediately afterward, rapid, violent, domineering, surging, and sharp breaths burst forth from his body. This noise resembled the thunderous sound of thousands of troops in battle and countless fierce birds and beasts howling, an eruption like that of a volcano exploding, sweeping in all directions. Boom, 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 the hurricane rose abruptly, and the visible sound waves surged out from Xiang Xiangshan as the epicenter, laying waste in every direction. Pavilions, terraces, shops, and storefronts collapsed under this impact. And on the streets, many people within these shops turned pale with pain, some spewing fresh blood and bursting apart. Xiang Xiangshan had become a nascent soul immortal for a reason, he was certainly not foolish. Knowing the situation was dire, he realized he had no chance against Yun Jianfeng and the Celestial City formation. Rather than wait for execution, he might as well act in this manner, preventing them from using their full strength against him, and by Nangong Meili some time. Whoosh, 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 the might of the Celestial City formation surged, and the cultivators from the Heavenly Sword Sect also formed their arrays, taking positions around, quelling this wave of sound and mana. Demon Head, you're courting death. Yun Jianfeng, seeing this scene, glared fiercely, his expression turned grave. In the void, instantly appeared numerous black sword chi with a chilling killing intent and an aura of eradication. The sword chi was dense and overwhelming, like a boundless ocean, racing towards Xiang Xiangshan. Before this, he hadn't used his full force against these people, thinking of it like a cat playing with a mouse. He wanted them to see hope, to scatter like sand, each fleeing for their lives. But now, Xianxia's actions had ignited a wave of anger in him. Humming, Xianxia, seeing the unstoppable tide of sword chi breaking through the air and knowing he couldn't avoid it, rapidly formed seals with his hands. His insides rumbled loudly as though a fierce beast was awakening. The black armor on his body showed the phantom of a black jiao snake, fierce and dreadful, coiling around him. Clang, 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 the black sword chi arrived, striking the phantom black jiao snake surrounding his body, causing sparks to fly and creating a symphony of clashing metals. In the process, the solid jiao snake phantom visibly weakened and dimmed. The killing intent was like the wind, the sword chi like the tide, continuously relentless, pulsing back and forth. Myriad manifestations. Xianxia, enduring the endless sword chi, had a ferocious look, eyes spewing out black flames resembling glazing, and he roared loudly. With the blood-red greatsword, he broke through the net of sword chi and slashed forward fiercely. His slash carried a domineering might, sweeping across heaven and earth with a boundless sea of blood, accompanied by ghostly wails and wolf howls. Boom, 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 the boundless sea of blood sought to tear through the tide of black sword chi. But the black sword chi was inexhaustible and visible to the naked eye, it tore through the sea of blood. Suppress. At the same time, a tremendous voice resounded between heaven and earth. Above the immortal city, with the great formation's five-colored radiance diffusing, a five-colored rainbow, akin to a celestial pillar, shot down at Xianxia, its might astonishing. Facing Yun Jianfeng's offensive and already near his limit, Xianxia's expression instantly turned extremely grim. With a fierce look, the mana surged within his body, and the phantom of the jiao snake on his black armor raised its head to howl, rocketing towards the sky to charge at the pillar of light. But the jiao snake, already greatly weakened by the black sword chi attack, had its power damaged. Confronted with the five-colored celestial pillar, it let out a mournful cry and disintegrated into ashes, shattering in the void. Chapter 487, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. Pooh! The illusion of the flood dragon shattered, immediately whitening Xianxia's face as he spat out fresh blood. At the same time, the boundless sea of blood he had unleashed was annihilated by the black sword chi in that instant. The endless black sword chi instantly engulfed Xianxia, causing his protective magical treasures to crack and his armor to splinter, with sparks flying off. Immediately after, his body boom flew backward, smashing into the ground and creating a deep crater. Blood spurted from his eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, a truly pitiful sight. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Seeing this, the heavenly sword sect disciples who were skirmishing nearby immediately took action, forming an array to suppress and capture Xianxia. Mealy, this is all I can do for you, Xianxia said under the pressure of the force, with his muscles crackling and limbs unable to bear the strength, motionless and showing an expression of agony. He lifted his head slightly, gazing into the distance. Looking at Nangong Mealy who had already escaped on a purple jade spider, his eyes shone with a fascinated and satisfied light. He felt that being able to buy so much time for Nangong Mealy was worth it. At this very moment, Nangong Mealy and the others had already reached the gates of Immortal City, hitting the great formation in front of them together, trying to break through the prohibitions and escape. But with the third-rank Great Formation fully activated, sealing off the entire Immortal City, even with several nascent soul immortals attacking together, it was impossible to break through the formation instantly. Fellow cultivators, stop holding back. Right now, we can only break through if we combine our efforts. Otherwise, if we keep this up, we'll all be finished here, one of them said. I possess a magical treasure named the Ban-Breaking All, which can break prohibitions and formation. It has a certain effect on breaking through the Great Formation, said a cultivator wearing a grey robe, with grey hair and a gloomy face. He quickly produced a purple gold awl. Indeed, no matter what happened before, now we must find a way to break through the Great Formation. I have a third-order ban-breaking talisman that can be used to break the prohibitions of a Great Formation. I possess a divine skill called the Great Inversion Divine Power, which can overturn mountains and rivers, affect the ley lines, and is useful for breaking formations. Once this power succeeds, it can disrupt the operation of this local heaven and earth, making the formation weak, another person declared. Seeing how quickly two nascent soul immortals were suppressed and captured, the others spoke up one after another. They knew they were trapped like turtles in a jar. Only by working together to find a way to break the formation was there a sliver of hope for escape. Otherwise, the outcome awaiting them was nothing but capture and suppression. Take action. Deciding quickly, the cultivators began to operate. A nascent soul immortal and a false core immortal flew up into the sky, acting separately, unleashing their divine skills and magical treasures at the buildings and cultivators of Immortal City. By doing this, they forced the Heavenly Sword sect to use the power of the Great Formation to protect these buildings and cultivators. The others used their divine skills to hinder the Heavenly Sword sect cultivators and to attack the formation, looking to blast open a tiny thread of life. Boom, 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 under the assault of the divine skills and magical treasures, countless pavilions, terraces, and grand buildings collapsed and exploded, turning into ruins. Many energy-refining cultivators and even some Foundation establishment cultivators were obliterated under the devastating onslaught, their flesh and bones turning to mush. When immortals fight, mortals suffer. In front of nascent soul immortals, let alone energy-refining cultivators, even those at the Foundation establishment stage could hardly resist. And at this moment, this nascent soul immortal was destroying unrestrainedly. Looking for death. Yun Jianfeng's face turned icy with murderous intent upon witnessing this. What he was seeing was the last thing he wanted to observe. He transmitted his divine sense, instructing the true person managing the formation to isolate heaven and earth with the formation, suppress all sides, and for the Heavenly Sword sect disciples to evacuate the populace and to seal off the surroundings. He himself, meanwhile, gripped a black killing sword and charged at a demon path false core cultivator. The magical sword glowed black and dazzling, and with a slice, a fierce black dragon emerged that roared fearsomely and tore through the void, making onlookers' mental spirits tremble. Boom! Seeing this, the demon path false core immortal immediately placed a gourd magical treasure in front of him, spewing water and fire to form various barriers, blocking this assault. At the same time, he looked to the others for help, hoping they would assist. After all, he was just a lowly false core. If he had to face Yun Jianfeng alone, he feared he would be suppressed within one round. Moreover, Yun Jianfeng was clearly filled with murderous intent at the moment. Killing a person was far simpler than capturing and suppressing them. Other golden cores and false cores seeing this exchanged glances, each unleashing their magical treasures and divine skills, moving to assist. Some directly attacked the buildings and cultivators inside the city, hoping to distract Yun Jianfeng. Evil creature, die by my hand. Returns in Yun Jianfeng's eyes sparkled like lightning, mana from his golden core surged within, and he transformed into an unparalleled magical sword that could pierce the heavens. Countless annihilating sword chi emerged around him, dense and covering the sky like a tidal dragon surging through the void, annihilating everything. Boom, 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 the myriad sword chi in the void tore through all the assaulting forces like a tidal wave. Simultaneously, the demon path false core, whose face had turned pale blocking the black dragon sword light, coughed up blood and his body split in two, dying instantly. This assault attacked not only the physical body but also contained the supreme power of the golden core, oppressing the soul and leaving him wholly unable to resist. Is this the power of a golden core true person? The Juejian sword, Yun Jianfeng. The others, seeing this, had unsightly expressions. It was horrifying. Yun Jianfeng's power was terrifying. They had all just acted together to block him, but Yun Jianfeng alone had broken through all their assaults. And he had instantly slain a false core true person. At this rate, all of them would die here. Chapter 488, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. Kill, even if I die, I want to take a few with me. Another nascent soul immortal from the demon path, seeing the situation, had a fierce expression and sacrificed a small mountain magical treasure, carrying the power of landslides and earth splits, and directly smashed it towards Wuxia Mountain in the center of the immortal city. He wanted to use this method to influence and destroy the spirit vein beneath the immortal city. After all, the third-rank spirit vein and the main vein were located right below Wuxia Mountain. If Wuxia Mountain collapsed, the entire immortal city's spirit vein would also be affected. Subdue. The voice of the true person in charge of the celestial city formation was magnificent, causing a five-colored rainbow light to immediately fall from the sky, enveloping the small mountain magical treasure and intercepting it. Kill. Yun Jianfeng's expression was cold, his killing intent was chilling, and his black magical sword swung in his hand. Pfft. A domineering, all-annihilating burst of sword chi exploded into existence in the void. This demonic path false core, just after sacrificing his magical treasure, with his body affected by the great formation of the immortal city, was unconsciously severed in two by this sword chi. A look of astonishment appeared on his face. He had no idea how this sword chi had appeared or how he had died. Everyone present who witnessed this scene felt a chill in their hearts and their hair stood on end. One sword. Just one sword and a nascent soul immortal had died just like that. He died so easily. This was not just the difference between the initial stage of core formation and the late stage of core formation. It was also the gap between true elixir and golden core. Today, all of you will pay the price. Yun Jianfeng's expression was indifferent, showing no mercy as his killing sword continued to slash towards others. Stop him quickly, my great inversion divine power is about to be complete, shouted another nascent soul immortal who was casting a divine skill. But now, only two nascent soul immortals remained at his side. The rest were all false core and foundation establishment cultivators. Under such circumstances, who would dare to take action? They could only continue to bombard the great formation with all their might. Heavenly Spider, go! Nangong Meili saw this scene, bit her silver teeth, and let her purple jade spider rush out. Now that the other two were fully focused on breaking the formation, she could only step in and delay Yun Jianfeng. Hiss hiss hiss, this purple jade spider, with 12 pairs of eyes emitting a demonic luster, spat out a clear and translucent purple web, aiming to seal off this part of the void. Immediately afterward, Nangong Meili slapped her spiritual beast bag, and 6 spirit snakes and a dense swarm of poison bees flew out. These 6 spirit snakes and poison bees did not fly towards Yun Jianfeng but scattered in all directions. Woo woo woo, she also blew her purple jade flute, emitting an invisible wave of mana. Upon hearing this sound, the purple jade spider, spirit snakes, and poison bees all began to increase in strength. Especially the purple jade spider, which grew from human size to a height of a zhang, its body radiating purple light that was daunting to the soul. Humph. Yun Jianfeng saw this scene and snorted coldly, his face disdainful. A fierce and domineering burst of black sword chi was slashed out, instantly reducing the large web spun by the purple jade spider in front of him to dust. Meanwhile, sword lights imbued with terrifying might slashed toward the 6 spirit snakes. These 6 spirit snakes were all second-rank demon beasts. Moreover, they were poisonous beasts nurtured through secret techniques, superior to ordinary demon beasts. But facing the 6 black sword lights, they were sliced into 2, blood splattering everywhere, as they died instantly. Nangong Meili's face turned pale at this scene. Though these spirit snakes were not her life-bound poisonous beasts, they were still spiritually connected to her. Now that all were slain, it had a significant impact on her. However, she also knew that at this moment, this was the only way to delay Yun Jianfeng. She blew her jade flute, scattering the poisonous bees, intending to wreak havoc in the Immortal City, forcing the Celestial City formation to act against the bees. Whoosh! But the very next moment, a black sword chi filled with annihilating and devastating might shot straight at her. Hiss hiss hiss, the purple jade spider was enveloped in a sinister purple glow, looking vicious and dreadful, its 12 pairs of eyes striking terror, as it spat out webs one after another. Its 8 legs, like spears, shone with a frightful and crystalline sharpness. Puff! Under the annihilating black sword chi, the web was turned to ash and dust. The sword chi burst forth again, keen and tyrannical, obliterating all in its path, forcing the purple jade spider to thrust its legs sharply forward like deadly spears. Clang clang clang. Aooo. The crystalline sharp spider spears, when faced with the sword chi, were severed one by one, causing the purple jade spider to reveal a look of agonized wailing. Puff! Another fierce and tyrannical black sword light tore through the sky, slicing the fearsome, vast body of the purple jade spider in two. Its crystalline, translucent purple blood spattered forth. Puff! Nangong Meili, who was in the midst of playing her jade flute, immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, her complexion pale and feeble. This purple jade spider was her life-bound heavenly spider, deeply connected to her existence. Now that it had been slain by Yun Jianfeng, she too had sustained severe injuries. The Juejian sword, Yun Jianfeng, how terrifying! Nangong Meili's countenance was ghastly. This purple jade spider was a third-rank poisonous beast. And it had just had its strength temporarily boosted under her technique stimulation. Yet it was still slain by Yun Jianfeng with 3 strikes. Such power was simply despairing. Old Yen, is your divine power ready yet? Nangong Meili's face was ashen as she looked towards the nascent soul immortal, who was casting a great divine power to break the formation, and called out. Now that she had used her life-bound heavenly spider to delay Yun Jianfeng. If it was still not enough, she would not continue to stand in the way of her own death. Because to kill her, Yun Jianfeng would need at most 2 strikes. Inversion. Rise. The nascent soul immortal, referred to as Old Yen, did not speak. He slapped his chest fiercely, then let out a feeble, long whistle. Chapter 489, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. _4 array flags fluttered all over, magical beads rotated, core formation mana surged wildly within, stirring the winds and clouds of heaven and earth. In an instant. Boom boom boom. The entire Immortal City, at this moment, seemed to violently shake. Following that, the white jade floor beneath the feet of the one called Old Ghost Yen shattered, the fractures spreading like a spider web, continuously extending around. At the same time, this patch of ground began to slowly rise. Great inversion divine power. A divine skill only nascent soul immortals could display. It could turn mountains upside down, break formations, kill enemies, affect ley lines, and for a brief period, break the small world formed by a third-rank great formation. Although it wasn't as terrifying as the earth-shaking formation, which could directly destroy the foundation of a ley line, its might was still quite astonishing. Suppress. The Celestial City formation, which isolated heaven and earth, frantically surged with pent-up 5-colored clouds, attempting to suppress this divine power. Now! Old Ghost Yan's eyes suddenly opened wide, his pupils filled with bloodshot veins, his expression somewhat fierce as he shouted loudly. As his words fell, everyone attacked the formation before them without holding back. Break the law spike. Break the band talisman. Heavenly thunder pearl. Divine skills and magical treasures, talismans and strange artifacts bombarded the Immortal City furiously, seeking to blast open a rift and escape the Immortal City. Under the influence of the great inversion divine power, this small world, which was self-contained, became disrupted, leading to a weak spot in the formation before them, and immediately a crack blasted open. It's open, it's broken through. Go! Hurry up, it won't be long before this crack restores itself. No one dared to delay, wanting to take the chance to escape right now. Thinking of fleeing? It's not that easy. Yun Jianfeng watched this scene and let out a cold snort. With a single sword strike, sword light dazzled heaven and earth, as if a cataclysm had descended, filling the space with countless destructive dark gases, blocking the crack that had appeared in the Great Formation. If one wished to escape the Great Formation through the crack, they would have to endure his sword chi. This sword chi would kill any ordinary Foundation establishment cultivator upon contact. He held the killing sword, continuing to pursue the three nascent soul cultivators before him. Demonic disintegration technique. In the distance, Xiang Xiangshan, who was captured and suppressed by the Heavenly Sword sect, was now covered in blood red, his veins bulging, his flesh etched with blood-colored runes. Melee, run! He suddenly let out a long howl, rising into the sky, shockingly choosing to self-destruct his true elixir. No good. Even Yun Jianfeng's expression changed upon witnessing this scene. Unexpectedly, Xiang Xiangshan had some sort of secret technique that allowed him, at the expense of his life, to break the seal and suppression, and execute the true elixir self-destruction technique. You should know, in the cultivation world, there is a saying that nascent soul cultivators and above can carry a wisp of soul with them after death, reincarnating and cultivating anew in the future, awakening their previous wisdom. But once one chose to self-destruct, the true elixir, physical body, and soul would be instantaneously obliterated, leaving no trace in the world, with no chance for reincarnation. Thus, very few nascent soul cultivators would choose to self-destruct their true elixir. However, the power of such self-destruction was indeed tremendously shocking, even for Yun Jianfeng, a golden core true person, who also had to retreat a fair distance. Sword sealing the heavens and earth. His black magical sword slashed, countless sword chi filled the air around him, sealing the void around Xiang Xiangshan to prevent his self-destruction from causing too much damage to the immortal city. Meanwhile, the true person presiding over the celestial city formation, at this moment, also fully operated the immortal city to seal the void and suppress the power of Xiang Xiangshan's self-destruction. Boom! The next moment, Xiang Xiangshan executed the true elixir self-destruction technique, causing the entire immortal city to resound with an earth-shattering explosion. And Nangong Meili and others took this opportunity to break through Yun Jianfeng's sword chi seal, escaping from Zhouxiao immortal city through the minute crack. Chapter 490, Enhancement of Yin-Yang Energies, a Premonition of War. _1 In a cave dwelling. What kind of demon cultivator is this, creating such a commotion in immortal city? Lu Chongsheng was employing the yin-yang nirvana art, trying to save Ling Zixio's life and heal her injuries. When he heard the explosive noise outside that shook heaven and earth, his heart skipped a beat. He had no idea what was happening in Immortal City. Earlier, he had heard a grand and vast voice. It announced that Immortal City had activated the formation to suppress a demon cultivator. But the commotion caused by this suppression of a demon cultivator truly felt astonishing to him. I hope it won't affect us here. Lu Chongsheng looked at the fair and voluptuous body in front of him, exhaled softly, and dared not to be too distracted. He continued to concentrate, using talismans and mana to arrange the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Zixio's body while applying the yin-yang nirvana art and life transference technique to nourish her flesh and warm her meridians and dantian. Underneath the earth-shattering explosive noise, Ling Zixio's hazy consciousness also gained some clarity. However, her condition was still extremely poor. She felt frail and weak all over, extraordinarily feeble. She could only rely on the continuous life force from Lu Chongsheng to soothe the backlash of the dragon roar physique. And so, time passed by bit by bit. It wasn't much longer. Ling Zixiao moaned softly, her body trembling violently. Though her delicate body was still powerless, like a pile of soft mud and water. She was no longer so frail and in danger. Phew! Seeing that Ling Zixio's condition had finally stabilized, Lu Chongsheng let out a sigh of relief. Ha! He gave a firm shout, activated his cultivation technique, and began the final stabilizing treatment. After a while, when the last wave of treatment was finished, Lu Changsheng's face showed exhaustion and fatigue. After all, such high-intensity treatment not only consumed physical and mental spirit but also drained the essence and lifespan from his origin source. Lu Lang Ling Zixiao's beautiful face was flushed, her eyes misty. She propped up her slender arm and wrapped it around Lu Changsheng's neck, offering a kiss. Before this, although she and Lu Changsheng were partners, it was, to put it bluntly, a trade of interests. It was purely transactional, devoid of any emotions. Her intimate actions with Lu Changsheng were simply because she found him physically appealing. Thinking that her life was not long, and she had yet to experience this aspect, she tried to accept it. After all, the two would have to solve the problems of the dragon roar physique through dual cultivation, which inevitably meant reaching this level of intimacy sooner or later. But now, after these days of blissful love and brushes with death, her attitude towards Lu Changsheng had changed. It was no longer pure transactional or a trade of interests. Under the backlash of the dragon roar physique, with endless yang energy burning her body, her consciousness became hazy, sinking into an abyss of endless darkness. Lu Changsheng, consuming the life of his origin source, pulled her from that abyss, stirring up inexplicable feelings deep within her heart. This burgeoning sentiment made her view Lu Changsheng with a bit more sincerity. As long as Lu Changsheng did not let her down and could solve the issues of the dragon roar physique, even if he was a flower-picking fiend cultivator, she would accept him. TSK, Lu Changsheng, faced with Ling Zixiao's kiss, warmly reciprocated. He knew that a woman, after going through such an ordeal, would be much more emotional. It was a good opportunity to build their relationship. After all, although they were partners, their relationship was like boarding the carriage first and buying the ticket later, lacking an emotional foundation. Thus, to have her sincerely become the mother of his child, it was natural to foster these emotions. Their necks entwined, they kissed with smacking sounds, like a pair of newlyweds, affectionate and loving. After a good while, equivalent to half a cup of tea's time, their lips finally parted reluctantly. Zi Xiao, how do you feel about your condition now? Lu Changsheng asked softly, caressing every inch of the soft and delicate snowy back of the beautiful woman beside him. He could tell that Ling Zixiao was stable now but still extremely weak. As for the condition of the dragon roar physique, he had no idea. He didn't know how the bit of dragon roar origin that he had harvested with the dragon invocation technique had affected Ling Zixiao. The benefits or detriments it could bring. Ling Zixiao remained silent upon hearing this. She closed her eyes, quietly sensing the changes in her dragon roar physique. After a long while, she opened her beautiful eyes, showing a hint of joy. Lu Lang, my dragon roar physique has been temporarily suppressed. Oh. Lu Changsheng raised his eyebrows in surprise upon hearing this. He hadn't expected it to be suppressed so easily. However, Ling Zixiao's brows furrowed slightly as she continued, but I feel that the dragon roar physique is simply using the continuously dissipating dragon roar yang energy to repair the lost origin source. Once the dragon roar origin that you've harvested is restored, I'm afraid the endless outflow of dragon roar yang energy will resume. Ling Zixiao nestled into Lu Changsheng's embrace, her voice weak and feeble. The dragon roar physique constantly emitted dragon roar yang energy as her cultivation level and strength increased. This stream of yang energy not only caused an imbalance in her yin and yang but was also incessantly burning her meridians and dantian. Now, with Lu Changsheng having harvested and plundered a strand of dragon roar origin, the outflow of yang energy from her dragon roar physique had been slowed. But as soon as the origin source of her dragon roar physique recovered, it would be like before, continuously emitting dragon roar yang energy, withering her meridians and life. The origin source of a spiritual body can actually repair itself? Lu Changsheng was somewhat astonished when he heard this. As far as he knew, it was very difficult to replenish a damaged origin source of a spiritual body. He hadn't expected that Ling Zixio's dragon roar physique could actually heal itself after he had harvested a strand of its origin source.